Alrighty. Here we go.
Can you see me?
Yes, I can. How are you?
How you doing, man? Good.
I'm doing great.
Yep.
Well, I guess as good as can be expected for, the down that comes after GaryCon. You know what I mean?
Oh, you still there?
Yeah.
I was there probably for the first 3 days of being home, but
It's
I
rough.
got back up to the grind that I'm already beaten down and downtrodden by my job already, so I'm good.
Yeah, well, guess what? I got back, and I said to myself, do I really want to do this anymore? And I left my job.
Whoa! Really?
Yeah.
The
The new one I got, it's kind of
new one?
Yeah,
Wow.
I got a final interview tomorrow. One of the companies was going to hire me the first time around, but they never filled the position. So I just, it's life, right? I want to be happy, so.
Oh, hell yeah, man! I support that 100%. It's just a huge shock. I mean,
It is, isn't it?
yeah, I mean,
Hey, damn, Chris. Yeah, I mean, yeah, yeah. Yes.
not
Hey,
like
Mystical, Cold Steel. It's one of those things that just I said to myself, I want to do things. I want to have fun. I want to have some flexibility, and I said to myself when I went to GaryCon for 2 weekends, right? Founders letter. I'll get away, right? I'll get away, and it'll be fine when I get back. But it was worse. So especially with all the stuff that's going on now, Coach, And I said to myself, do I want to do this? I mean, the money's great, but do I want to do this? And I'm like, nope, I don't.
the stuff that's going on aside of that. You mean in our hobby, or you mean?
Hobby and for me, yeah, both. So yeah, stuff's like crazy stuff's going on. It's all great, and the community's like thriving. You know what I mean? It's really exciting. And just
I've met more Greyhawk people at GaryCon this year than I have ever before.
we had like 60 people there. Isn't it nuts?
I meant even outside of people that were affiliated with our chat or your chat, I should say, or Castle Entertainment or anything like that, man. I met a lot of Greyhawk people this time, which was really nice. I mean, it was really nice to see. I see that Sapphire Steels feels the same way.
Yep. There's people, there's still Sapphire. If I met you at GaryCon, I apologize, or Founders and Legends, because it's still tough for me to associate the Twitch name with a real person name,
Myself too.
Yeah,
Myself.
It's tough.
For example, I really wasn't. I had people that were in my games and stuff like that it took me a little while to associate their names and things like that. Hey, Vamp, what's going on, man? Like I saw Chad, for example, Vamp Wickman. I saw him at the show, and it took me a second to figure out who, to associate that with actually a screen name, because I know Chad from playing with him online and just being Chad. Same thing with Antiquitous. He was in a game of mine, and I was like, oh my gosh, oh yeah, that's right, okay. Things just started connecting. It's a pleasure to meet you, by the way, Sapphire. I don't know that, are you Stephanie Decker? I don't, I know a few Stephanies in our hobby, that's why.
No, not Decker, okay.
Okay. Well, it's a pleasure to meet you then. I've never met you before.
Hey, Anna.
Hello.
Hey, Anna.
Hi.
We will have
How you doing?
we'll have Brett and
Back in 2001,
Brett
when
and
we
Curtis
first
on to
began
talk about their
working with
Burial
Gary
stuff at
Gygax.
8:30.
He pitched this
So
wonderful
they're
Awesome.
Not, they're not coming for an hour and a half.
Yeah, he called him the Gygaxian
Okay.
fantasy world.
Yeah.
Curtis and whom?
Brett, Curtis, Curtis and Brett
for
Fellion.
role players, writers, game
Yeah.
designers, the whole,
Brett, they're
the
like
whole lot
best
of us.
buds for 30 years.
Yeah, they're
Name your game,
sidekicks.
create
Yeah.
Oh,
something,
I know
writing
Curtis. I
stuff,
didn't know
publishing
Brett.
content,
Yeah.
Oh,
whatever
you
it
met
may
them
be.
both at
And there was really no
I'll
indication
show you a
what
picture.
he
If you
did
met
with
one,
this
you met the
series
other.
to be.
Yeah.
Okay,
He
that's
basically
cool.
published
They're
the
awesome,
Canting Crew,
both
both of them.
World builder, living fantasy.
You were
Steven
taking-
Chanel up there in silence is freaking me out, by the way.
Yeah, the funny thing is, I've seen this 10 times. I never heard it.
No, I'm seeing it, and it's just like I keep wanting to give him the floor.
Yep.
Yeah, you think it's live, yeah.
I thought he was on the first time I saw it. It was like I wanted to say hi to him, but
Oh,
it
this
was
ends.
super
This
cool.
ends tonight at 9 o'clock. This
Oh,
Kickstarter
yeah.
for all the Gary Gygax stuff. I think they're approaching 300,000.
Yeah, I think they were close. They were just. I saw a little like a little staple, but just a little tiny thing at the top.
Gary Gygax World Building Archives. And
Hey,
give
of
us some
course,
support.
of course.
Share it around if you can. Pledge if you can.
You know what,
Whatever you need to do,
Armin,
whatever
first of
you
all,
can
it's great
do
to see you
for us
here,
in the memory of
and
Gary
it was great to have you as
Gygax.
part of the
Very
game.
much appreciated.
I got, as I will promo a little bit later tonight,
True
I just
Lord
got
Games,
back from the printer
join the
underneath
fray.
and glowing print in the back there. So
Awesome.
good to see you.
I'm assuming Mike's got a game tonight because Mike normally says when his game's canceled when he can come on, but he didn't say anything. So in chat, so I'm assuming.
Yeah.
But then again, I could be wrong. But
Yep, in glowing print. There we go. All right, cool, Sapphire Steel. That's good. I will do that here post haste then. Stephanie, how am I gonna message you on Facebook? Because I don't know your last name. Good security.
Whisper and Twitch. Twitch whisper to her.
Yeah, Twitch whisper to me. And I'd be
Whisper.
happy.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's CSL Entertainment for Carlos.
Yeah, either that or Carlos Lising, one of the two.
Eric the Banana, thanks for the follow just now. Go Sam.
Eric.
Where do you see the giveaway tonight? Courtesy of Amanda and Carlos. Holy schmolies.
Right on, Armin. Oh yeah, thanks. Yeah, we wanted to do something really nice and big for the new release. So
That
it's
is fantastic. Look at that. People rolling in this, this extra hour. People still getting used to the earlier hour. It just works a lot better for every. So much going on.
well, on days that you end up having me on the show where I'm actually coming live to you from work, I will end up having to come in a little bit later than usual. 7 is exactly when I start. So.
Oh, okay. That's all right.
That's okay. I'll find a way to make it work.
Carlos, did you get to take a look at my Free City of Altamira?
I got it on my chair right over here next.
Awesome. You got one. I just want to make sure you got one.
Yeah, I got one. Thank you.
Awesome.
Yeah, I got a chance to look at it. I haven't perused it as deeply as I would like yet, but I
No
have.
problem.
Okay. All right, Sapphire. Then I could probably find you through him.
So Sapphire, are you going to be at Page with Chet too? Or were you at Page last year? I may have met you if you were at Page with Chet.
Chet's the best, man.
Yeah. So I was at, I did Page last year.
Chet and I, where Chet was a longtime contributor to Castle Entertainment, good buddy of mine, and he, we're going to be back in the saddle again for a very short project here pretty soon. So
That's awesome.
yeah, he, I look forward to working with him again.
Yeah, Chet was really cool. Thanks.
Stephanie, do you have a hyphenated surname?
There you
Okay,
go.
I'm already your friend. I just didn't. I didn't place it then. Okay, cool,
Awesome.
awesome. Okay, now I know who you are now. Hey, Uncle Fuzz, good to see you.
Hello.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I mean, I think we have in the greater Chicagoland area, we had more people, more of Polish descent than Warsaw. So, I mean that literally. I mean, for example, in Chicago, St. Patrick's Day is such a big deal. We have more people there than Dublin, Irish people there than Dublin.
That's
so,
funny.
Yeah, it's huge ethnic Polish population. I lived in an area where it was huge Polish and Greek area, which is Oak Park. So that was one of the places I lived in primarily when I was back home.
I already pulled the cord out already from my headset before we even started. So I'm on a roll tonight.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, absolutely, Sapphire.
But that's technically not the wrong button. So
no, it's not.
So you're
not
good.
Yet. So
yep.
But we'll get to some. I guarantee we'll get to some wrong buttons tonight.
And this is crazy that you have this discussion tonight, Jay, because you have no idea that I was doing this, but I'm actually in the middle of working on an article for Blackmore as we speak.
That's funny.
For my Patreon, yeah. So
wow. So
it was really kind of serendipitous that.
Well, let's credit it to Mike. I said, Mike, we need, I was going, Mike, we need a topic, and he throws out 5 to 7 topics. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, oh, this is the one. This is the one. So
Bitter North is a great topic for me.
In order to be good, you gotta be lucky sometimes,
Well, I didn't realize until Amanda and I were sitting there, and we were getting ready to send you covers and things like that. Mm-hmm. She goes, "Okay, what do you have set in that area in general?" And I mentioned a few things. She goes, "Oh, and don't forget." And I said, "Oh yeah, that's right. Oh, and don't forget and that.
Yeah.
Don't forget that." I'm sitting here, oh my goodness.
Yeah, you got a lot of stuff, and that's why immediately I was like, I went right to you. I'm trying to squeeze this in here. There we go. That's better. So I'm trying. Yeah, immediately I went to you on this. I was like, holy geez, yeah, home run here. And then I knew that Brett and Curtis have their game in the Bernial. So, and so. But hey, good evening, everyone. I know people are still rolling in here. I'm J.K. Lorgazumba. Another week of entertainment, 4-stream week again. Every week is a 4-stream week in April. I have a game every Saturday morning of some sort in April. Yes, I'm pushing the limit with some crazy stuff, and we'll talk about that later on. So I got with me, as always, the legendary Anna Meyer.
Hello.
And very special guest, true legend for all of us, Carlos Lising. Carlos, welcome back.
Hey, thank you so much, Jay. I appreciate you having me.
So let's ask this question first. GaryCon, was it the best one this year?
For me, it was probably, and it was it was the most sleepless for sure.
Yeah, tell me about it. Yeah,
it was definitely the best one. It wasn't the most sleepless for me, but 10 days I made sure that I took good sleep overnight, so to speak, and got my hours in. But it was still tedious at the end.
I forgot to change up your shout out.
Yep.
My bad.
I'll give you a quick example of what my GaryCon was like. I ran 9 games in 4 days, 4-hour sessions. And in the middle of one of my days, somebody mentioned to me that they had to cancel on one of my games because they mentioned they had to cancel on one of my games because they couldn't make it. I created a new game in the hotel room just so they could play in a game.
Oh my
gosh.
Pre-gens and everything. Threw it together about an hour and a half where it was ready to go. It was one of the better games of the tournament for me. So It was crazy. But that was what my game was like.
I thought I did a lot, Carlos. I did 7 games in over the entire 2 period, but I had a unique terrain for every one of them. So that was crazy in itself. We had a blast. It was just awesome. I want to show you real quick. Of course, I should have had these prepped, but I'm stupid, and I didn't. Gavin Wednesday. All right, I want to show you this picture. This is I rated my 10 to 12 favorite pictures of the entire con, and this was number 2, and I think you'll appreciate this. So this is from the show Wednesday night. And there's Matt Everhart doing the video for us, and there you are, right across from Todd. Now,
yeah, that's me.
Your wife had to tell you who he was, right?
Yeah, I had no idea who he was. Super nice guy, but I'm just, I'm one of those kind of people. I don't. I write so much, and I have this fatal flaw of I'm a kind of a style chameleon in that when I'm exposed to media, I kind of end up. That becomes part of what I do. So I don't watch a lot of TV. I only watch hockey and stuff like that. So my wife, I mentioned the guy, and my wife's like, "Oh, I know who that is." And she mentioned, I was like, "Oh, wow. Okay. That's cool." Yeah, super nice guy. I guess that's probably why I wasn't starstruck or anything like that, is because I just didn't know who he was.
You went about your business, which was great. And when you were done, he said, "Man, that guy's an inspiration." I mean, that's what he said to me. So I just want to put it out there for you.
Mm-hmm.
That
it's really a pleasure to hear that, man. He was a really nice dude, and sometimes, I think because we live in an era of celebrity gamers, your
Yeah.
first reaction to somebody, sometimes unfairly so, is this guy, the real deal here, or is this guy just here to,
Right. No, I understand that.
whatever?
Yeah,
But
yeah.
no, he was definitely you could definitely tell he had the passion for the game and the love for it. And I guess that's why I when we started talking, I was wanting to engage with him. I really wanted to know what his background, what the game was, and I want to know how, just all that kind of stuff. That's the stuff that fascinates me when I'm
Mhm.
new gamers and things like that. I want to know, how they were exposed to the game, what editions do they play, what kind of, all the little stuff like that, the nuts and bolts that make you a fan or make you an enthusiast. I think that's kind of stuff is really neat.
So kind of, he wants to get in one of your games next year, so I'll work with him.
Oh, I'd love to
as
have him.
as we all say, my good friend Todd Stashwick, I'll bust my balls now about it. But like,
Just
yeah.
just let him know that I probably won't come up with something in the middle of the convention for him.
Right. No, with a sign up. Yeah. So, but just note that when I told him you were like, you're more old school than I was, I had a lot of, you're much more core than I am. And he's like, oh, great.
Yeah.
That's the kind of, that's the kind of game I like. So, great guy. Just wanted to put that out there for you.
Oh,
and,
absolutely.
and then just, so one last picture here, and then we'll move on. And that is just to get you an idea of, all right. So that's Brett. There you go. That's Brett. We probably saw him around. That's Curtis.
Oh yeah, I've seen him. Okay,
Yeah,
okay.
yeah, with the crew here with
Him.
the Slavs, Coco, Bird, myself, and Mariette's husband. Yeah, so we had a lot of It was a great time, absolute great time. So just to give you an idea there. All right, so tonight, the Bitter North. We have covered Blackmore. We've had Daniel Boggs on. Is that the correct name?
Yep.
Right?
Dan Box, yep.
Yes,
Mhm.
with this.
He is the guy when it comes to Blackmore, in my opinion, right now.
Yeah.
Right.
Mhm.
I have this. He was nice enough to give this to me in hardback, so I have
I
this.
didn't know such a thing existed.
Yeah, I very limited copies. If you probably have it in PDF.
I do.
Yeah.
He sent me a
So
copy of PDF
yeah.
when I was doing my module across Blackmoors. You might notice for him, he's a contributor to it in the credits
Oh,
because
nice.
I asked him a few questions because I like when I know that somebody in our community is a subject expert on something, I try to include their work in it, and
Mhm.
mostly number one to pump their tires. I like featuring my friends' work and my stuff, but I also like it so that we kind of present a homogenous front within the community. You can see yourself, like, for example, if I ever did another aquatic adventure, I would definitely be Troy would be on speed dial for me, because he's, for me, the aquatic guy in Greyhawk right now. There's nobody that does as much or as in-depth stuff as he does with it. So
everyone, here's my Carlos pile. All right, it's growing. It always grows. So just note that.
Thanks so much.
Now one of them's mine, right? And there we go. Carlos and me did this jointly. Horror in the Holes, Chet Minton artwork on it on the cover.
Yep.
But Carlos has got so much great stuff. Now we're going to talk about the area. I'm going to bring up the large area map, but let's relate to, because a number one question is there's nothing up there to run. Well, that's BS, right? And I want to suggest, and I don't see Gary. I think I saw Samwise on. We need to update the Adventure Cannon Fire map because it's missing all the Carloses that are up there. So we really need to do that at some time in the near future.
I want to say that Rich was the guy that did that initially.
Rich
At least
Steele,
he was the one I was originally coordinating with on that.
Absolutely, but Rich has not been around lately. I'm not sure if it's work here. Here we go. Let me set this
Might
up.
be busy working.
We're gonna do
Yep.
this now, and we'll discuss this as well. So you want to talk about generosity? If you are, you got to be in the continental U.S. though. If you're not, you will get the PDF or pay the freight. Okay, they're your options. Only fair for this. So let me bring up the picture as I am babbling. I'm babbling. There we go. Okay. Here's the giveaway tonight. Carlos, you want to describe what the winner is gonna get here?
Yeah, absolutely. So some of you guys might know that I have a trilogy of modules in the set called the Sanguine Labyrinth modules. There is a short paragraph in the book I Use the Evil in which they talk about something called the Dungeon of Bleeding Walls. It's in the lands of the Rovers of the Barrens, very, very northernly. And as a matter of fact, it's my mega dungeon. I did all 9 levels for what the Dungeon of Bleeding Walls is like. And the newest one of them that you're seeing right over there on the right is Within the Womb of Night. Now that's going to be released next month for through for the public. There's a couple ways you can get early. If you want to happen to win this, that's one thing. I happen to get it back from the printers today, the
Oh,
module
wow.
is absolutely gorgeous. Hey, Will, it's great to see you. Let me see. Let me get a little closer. But anyway, I got back from the printer today. It's gorgeous. It's also really glossy, so it's not really translating well, but it's beautiful. If you sign up for the Patreon, you can get it for next. You can get it as part of next month's stuff. All the patrons get everything early, of course. So those are the 2 ways you can get it: either through the Patreon, or you can wait a month and get it, buy it just through the website, or you can get it with the giveaway tonight. And that's all 3 modules, all 9 levels of the Mega Dungeon. It's probably about 300 pages worth of module. So yeah, you're telling me. And it's oh, please link my Patreon. I think we've linked it a couple times over here.
I'll
already.
link it again.
Oh, thank you so much, man.
Yeah, no problem.
But yeah, I think you guys will really enjoy what I've got going on there with it. I'm really proud of it. It incorporates a few things from people from the community, like I like to do. JC Luxton, a good friend of mine, is responsible for part of the denouement of the module. So I'm really excited about reflecting some of his ideas in there. And yeah, it's one of the things that people have. Thanks so much, Lomas. It's one of the modules that I have gotten the best reviews. When I did the first module, say the first one, Thangwayne Labyrinth, it was play tested at Gamehole Con originally, and it got such really good reviews that everybody's like, "You've got to absolutely get the rest of them out as soon as possible." And now maybe 3 years later, here you are.
And so this is
Yvonne Malku.
Think about this: 3 full modules, all hard copy, shipped to you in the U.S. That's a great. It's going to be a nice one. So that's the giveaway.
And if you win and you don't live domestically, my merch Valkyrie, Amanda, my wife, and I, we will send you either the PDF copy or you can pay for shipping as you please, and we'd be happy to get them to you. So it doesn't matter if you win and you don't live. If you want in and you don't live domestically, don't worry about it. We'll work something out. It's no big deal.
Very, very cool. Very generous. So
I love you, Van Malku, but you can send me as much of it as you want. And Sapphire Steel, you need to start with Castle Entertainment. We'd be happy to feed your vice there for more RPG books.
Chuck hugged you at GaryCon.
He did.
Wow.
I hugged him back. For those of you guys who meet me at GaryCon, you'll know I'm a hugger. So I'm not too manly to give a hug.
Yeah, well, at least you weren't in tears the whole time, Carlos.
I was not.
A lot. So everyone made fun of me for that, but it's okay. So Carlos is the man, absolutely.
Oh, thank you so much, brother. I appreciate it.
That's why we got him here, and I'm tonight for this great discussion. So I'm going to bring up the map for the entire area. Exclamation point drawing. Just remember that is for it, and you got to be on tonight for this. Unless you're a tier 3 sub, then I'll pass on it. But how many of them do I have? 3 of them. So yeah, you got to be on to claim this one tonight. It's a big one. So Anna, what are your thoughts on this discussion tonight?
I think it's a super interesting region. It's a region that is more diverse in that sense that it's atypical from the central core setting of Greyhawk, both climate-wise, geography, history, and who lives there and stuff. So if you want to run adventures and campaigns that are drastically different from the standard trope of City of Greyhawk and the Wild Coast and those kind of central stomping grounds we've been so used to, then the Bitter North can be your place, so to speak. It has some really, really cool stuff to offer.
It does, but like I said, a lot of people don't know where to find it, and we're going to show them that tonight too.
Yeah,
and go over some things here. So we're now most of the discussion. Let me bring this up here. most of the discussion is going to be on the western side of the Flanders, but that doesn't mean, because you got
Well,
Famous Cold Dead Hands over here
yeah,
too.
but that's not part of the region, the Bitter North.
I understand
They
that.
they are defined in
I understand that.
yeah, in several. I think it was started in Adventure Begins. I think that was
Roger Moore started it. Yeah.
Yeah, I think he started it in Adventure Begins, and then it was used in the Living Greyhawk Gazetteer and other parts too. Those kind of official regions of Greyhawk, so to speak. And the Bitter North was one of them. So it's the western side. It's geographically, it's Pearland, and then the Yatils and the mountains east and west of it, and tiger nomads, wolf nomads.
Really, I didn't realize it was the tiger and wolf nomad. Okay. Yeah.
Oh yeah, tiger wolf nomads, the Bernal Forest, and the land of Black Ice and Blackmore. That's the officially the Bitter North. That whole part from Pearland and northward, so to speak. The triangle up there. That's the official geography that was listed.
There's
as
Daniel.
part of
Daniel. Yep, we got we're talking the Bitter North here a little bit, so we got Carlos on, who's going to help us out.
Daniel, great to see you.
Yeah, with going through some of this great book that you gave. So Carlos asked where you can get one of these in hardback. Would you whisper him, please?
Yeah,
because I got it, and
if it's not available, that's okay too. I understand.
Yeah, but just I know you keep forgetting. Yeah, we started an hour early. It gets a lot more people in. So yeah. All right. So besides running dungeon adventures, I don't think I do much up here. I just, even if it's on my side of the map, Anna. So like, it's just occasionally we'll run an adventure up here. I know I ran Raiders of the Black Ice, which was up here. I put a Necromancer Games adventure up here too. That wasn't placed anywhere specifically, but I haven't really done a lot. So I know Anna loves the area and loves to develop it, but Carlos, like, what drew you to the area?
Well, the very absolute first game I ever played was in Pearland.
Okay.
The very first, and this is way back in the early '70s. Myself and the DM and the group I was with, I played a character in Pearland, and that became my long-standing character, the Colorless Mage of Pearland. So he's a huge part of my gaming experience when I was a kid, and as a as an adult, and I still run a lot of games over there. Like, for example, there's a game that I run a certain private game for a group of people, and it's all set in Pearland. It's called the Wolves of St. Cuthbert. It's a campaign that I run at conventions. So I run all kinds of Pearland stuff there. I run it's a huge that's my personal stomping grounds for my own campaign. But I also do like to do stuff that's really off the map as far as my modules go. Like part of how I decide where I'm going to put a module is I think to myself, where has nothing been before? And so I end up with a lot of stuff in the cold north because really not a whole lot of people touch it. At least not in official modules and stuff like that.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, that's what I see is that not a lot of people touch it at all. So it's open. It's like you have adventures here and there, but you just don't have key things. And I know a lot of people just are like, oh man, I'd love to use the area, but I don't want to homebrew 100%. Well, now you don't have to. Right, and that's the good thing. You don't have to homebrew 100%.
There's plenty of they're not a lot of adventure materials, but there's a lot of source material.
That's true.
Yeah, there's plenty of myth, legends, history, culture, and stuff in the source books. So, but when it comes to regular adventures, then there's slim pickings.
So
unless you go to Castle Entertainment, Anna.
But I bet you have more denser pickings in other parts of the world too than this one. So
no, it's the truth. It's the truth.
Yeah.
So let's just start with something that and we'll get the ones out of the way that are already published here. So we're going to go first off to number 115. So bring this down, bring this up here. Boom. Okay. Raiders of the Black Ice. It's by Wolfgang Bauer, so it's not anyone to sneeze at. And it's got some good maps. It's got Lazaretti maps.
I was going to say it comes with a fantastic Rob Lazaretti map of Blackmore. So that's the first thing.
There it is. Absolutely, there it is. And also, if you're so lucky as to find it, this is in a day when Paizo was smart.
Dungeon 115.
Yeah, Dungeon 115, and gave these handouts, which have all the maps in them for you to utilize. It's even more clear than in the magazine. So you get this really crisp map showing all these locations here. So this is a fantastic map. So yeah, absolutely. Really,
I think if you go down one page too on that from the map there, just little things like that that picture of Tonsborg, it gives you an idea of how big the area is. It gives you some a vibe of what life there might be like, and that, to me, that type of thing right over there is so valuable as a DM. That when I'm developing an area or I'm running something, having that kind of thing right to look at is really informative and helpful.
Yeah, thank you there, Phantom. Thank you. That'll hit the hype train going. Everything in this, I just don't know why they don't do it anymore. Well, I know why, but it's just it's just such a cool concept, and so I know I ran this in probably the 300s or 400s of my 1,000 adventures, because this is number 115. So when's this date? This is like early now maybe later than that. This is like early 2000, right? 2004. So yep. Thanks, Chuck. You got it too, man. Appreciate it. So Chuck got his room for a page already today, Anna. So
cool.
Yeah, I don't know remember a lot of details on this. And if anyone does and wants to, Fuzz, thanks. If anyone wants to elaborate on it a bit, I can't remember much. I'm too old. My brain's dead. But I remember it was like a lot of creatures in the north you're fighting, and it's not an adventure where there are. That's a great pick. I love that pick. There's not a lot of mechanical devices like you'd find in Blackmore sometimes or whatever. It was just a straight up adventure that was placed up in the northern realms. I don't. Other than that, I don't remember much more. Sorry. But anyone else want to elaborate? And I know Troy likes this adventure too. So.
Well, like I said, one of the things I would like to elaborate on with that thing is, for me, the biggest use of that module is, again, it gives you there's not a whole lot of information on what life in Blackmore is like for people, what the general kind of, vibe is there. And I think that's where it's really super useful to me, as I enjoy the whole, the whole getting the cultural view of it.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's where the conjecture is, and from here we'll go to Daniel's, all right, and then we'll talk about how many people are there up here. 10,000 maybe.
I would say way more than that.
Really?
Oh yeah, but first of all, you have to include Parentland, and that's probably 150,000.
He's just talking about.
I'm just talking about Blackmore, the Blackmore area.
Oh, sorry, Blackmore alone.
Yeah, the Blackmore area.
Yeah, maybe 10, 15, 20,000, something like that. Yep.
Thank you, Troy. To use against any players. Okay, so I will. So that's 3 specials for me. If Fuzz, I'm assuming those 2 will go to the party. So I'm getting specials for tomorrow night already. So this adventure and like what do all Wolfgang Bauer adventures have in common?
They're brutal.
and they're long.
They're brutal.
Yeah, true. And this is a pretty long adventure in Dungeon. So look at this. I love Wolfgang Bauer lives in Seattle and dreams about monkeys. That's funny. So that's what it says about him. So there you go. That's an adventure to run for your group, and then we come over here. And so this is the inside cover of Blackmore, and we had a whole show on this, so we'll scan through this a bit. We had Daniel on, and just wonderful stuff that's done in here.
By the way, Jay, I got to call a timeout just for a second.
Please.
You go back up a page right over there where you were just at. For for the map. That map right over there, when Daniel and I was contacting him about when I was writing Across Black Moors, as I mentioned earlier before you were on, Daniel, and he sent me a copy of that map. I continue to use that map for my version of Blackmore. And as a matter of fact, in the document I'm currently writing right now about Blackmore, I name check all kinds of things in there. Yep, that's my Blackmore adventure. But yeah, that map alone, what Daniel did over there, he commissioned that map personally for it. That's such a huge boon to the community because it really gives a lot of detail that you won't see anywhere else.
That is huge detail. I mean, my gosh.
And it's gorgeous too. Oh, thanks, Lomas.
Daniel, I'm going to ask a weird question. Is that cross-reference with the Land of Black Ice adventure, or did Wolfgang pull from that? I'm just curious if it's just or not. So I like this, showing the areas of, showing all the different areas of Blackmore. Yes. Okay. Cool. See, look at that. Perfect. I wrote 2 stories based on adventures reviews from the attackers and defenders, which should be published in the upcoming. Nice. See, Troy's in on it too.
And you know what? I guess since we're talking Blackmore right now, I would be a little bit remiss if I feel like I should actually talk about the project I'm working on right now. I've mentioned a couple times, but
sure.
Many of you guys out there in the community knew Jason Zavoda.
Yep.
He was a good friend of mine. He was a Titan leader, and he created possibly the most indispensable document for our community in Encyclopedia Greyhawk Anna. Well, not to be confused with Anna Meyer, but anyway, he had in his blog, Hall of the Mountain King, a recurring article entitled Land of a Thousand Witches, Blackmore. Some of you guys might remember that. Well, yeah. I have decided, as kind of a salute to Jason and ode to my friend, I am continuing on Land of a Thousand Witches, Blackmore as kind of a sub feature within my Patreon that I'm gonna give that stuff. It's just my way of highlighting his work, his blog, his life, his contributions, and that area. So
hey, George, good to see you. So
hey, George, great to see you, brother. That's my good friend George.
Yeah, George, you want to hear a funny story? So it's the other Carlos Mondragon, right?
Another great dude.
Who's I was so happy he was at GaryCon, right? You know. So he comes up to me, and we're talking and all and stuff. I gave him an Altamira copy and all, and he posts a couple things. And George Fields is like, "I didn't even know you existed till Carlos Mondragon made that post." I'm like, "Well, here you are now, dude." So,
that
was really cool.
And, if there's something you want to see in that article,
it's cool.
By all means, reach out to me. That series of articles.
Nice.
I'm following the footsteps of a giant here when I'm doing this stuff with Jason, and if there's something that you would like to see highlighted, being that you're the Perrinland or the Blackmore master, the maestro, by all means, let me know. You know where to reach me.
So we hit a level 3 hype train. We're gonna do a second giveaway. Now, you won't win the Carlos stuff, but you'll win a classic D&D reprint. Okay, so we are doing a second giveaway, kind of a what do you call it? A consolation prize. But hey, it's still all right. So all right, there we go. So back to what highlights do we have here, Carlos and Anna, as far as Blackmore? What can we wean out of Daniel's book or anything that's published now? Like, and Sam says the original glossography says like 20 to 30,000. But
when it comes to sorry.
Go ahead. No, go.
I was going to say, when it comes to Blackmore, first we have to acknowledge that there is two different versions, or at least two different, but there are two main versions of this, so to speak. We have Dave Arneson's original Blackmore, and that this is based on, and this is it. Then we got the, I would say, homage to that version that we got into the published setting of Greyhawk. That is not anywhere near, or it's not Dave Arneson's Blackmore in nothing, not in geography, not in content, climate, or what's there, so to speak. It's an homage. It's called Blackmore, and it has a few little details that are kind of named the same, so to speak, as Dave Arneson's original campaign. But it doesn't fit. Dave Arneson's was a fully fledged featured campaign with lots of cool stuff and I would say more a standard temperate climate that you could play anything and have lots of cool stuff in. But the Blackmore we got in the published Greyhawk sources is a little frozen hell up there in the high Arctic, with some remnants of the past, so to speak, and with some cool little features. That's it. And the geography that is not paid much attention to, doesn't match the Dave Arneson's Blackmore hardly anything, and so on. So these are two different things. And I think if you want to approach it, you need to understand these differences. And so on. So that was just the preamble, so to speak, to go into this.
Yeah, George.
Yeah, Samwise just beat me to something I was going to mention. I think there's actually another one too. Don't forget the BA module series of modules that they released, the 4 that they, with Temple of the Frog and
DAs, the DAs.
Yeah, exactly. There are other ones. Yeah,
okay. That's also, those 4 are also.
It's a bit like the Castle Greyhawk, meaning there are many different versions.
Right.
It's one of these that have received different love from different authors over the decades, so to speak.
For sure.
So with this, though, we can say that any of them, the Great Kingdom one, Alan Hammock's, Johnson's, they all got smushed in somewhere, right?
Yeah.
All when he created Greyhawk. Len was never happy with what
No, but at least it was much more of Len's real Lendor Isles was put in.
Okay.
In with the Blackmore, it was not the Dave Arneson's Blackmore in any real sense of it. It was the name and just a few little marshes. That was it, so to speak. And the geography or the climate or nothing really fits.
So let's start here, even though it's not your first one in the cold area, but because there's a relationship. So across Blackmoors, let's Carlos, talk about like the relationship between Daniel's works and what you did here.
Yeah, sure, absolutely. Well, first of all, the module was actually, a lot of you guys know that I do modules on commission a lot of times for conventions around America. And that particular module was commissioned by Dave Con, which is a convention run by a good friend of mine, Victor Dorso, who runs a show up in Minnesota celebrating the life of Dave Arneson. Among other things, and old school gaming in particular. I believe Daniel also goes to that show as well, if I remember right. Well, I started working on it, and as I was working on Across Blackmoors, I knew I wanted to make it Blackmore related because it was, obviously the convention's all about Dave. And I thought to myself, I really want to pull in a subject expert on it, because even though I have my own view of what Blackmore is like, and you can see that certainly in the module text. Again, you guys, like I mentioned, I really like to pull in people from the community and see, and so they can contribute and feel like they're making something happen through my work as well. That some of the stuff that they see, you guys can see in my books, are reflected, with your ideas and things like that. So I reached out to Daniel and we talked a little bit about Blackmore and some areas, and he shared with me the map and some cultural vibe stuff going on.
Okay.
So that was really mostly the things I got from Daniel was feelings about culture and feelings about, and the map and things like, for example, where I placed it was all directly based on, Daniel's input.
Is that an automaton like owlbear?
Yeah, you know what it is. Actually, I don't want to give away the plot of the module, but there's an old movie back from the 70s when I was a kid growing up called Prophecy.
Yeah.
It was about a bear that was mutated by methyl mercury. It was kind of an environmental horror movie.
That scared the crap out of me when he ripped that guy's head off. Oh my God!
It scared the hell out
Carlos. of me. And he walked underwater. Oh my God!
So yeah, that's where I got the.
My God!
The idea for the automaton mutated owlbear. For any of you guys who know anything about the egg of Coot up in the area. Oh, and I almost forgot one of Daniel's biggest contributions to the whole idea was he helped me rename, because as you know, I have to file off the serial numbers in order to respect IP. My stuff doesn't have direct Greyhawk nomenclature in it. He's the one who helped me rename the Egg of Coot. I used his Org of Oot for my egg.
Yeah.
And he so the owlbear over there was definitely was based on the movie Prophecy. Well, at least the idea came to me from that.
Very
But the
cool.
other thing about this module is I thought that would be really cool is Blackmore is such a widespread out area, and it's largely under-adventured by I should say it's largely under-touched by Greyhawk writers. So what I wanted to do with it is I made it a dungeon crawl in kind of like an ode to that. So the way that module is actually set up and the structure of it is much different than a lot of my other modules, because I wanted to give the whole sensation of exploration and a little bit of randomness in it.
Cool.
Thanks, Will. I appreciate it. But that one, you got to give credit to that one to Daniel.
Everyone, if you want to, Will was DMing on his channel Saturday morning too.
Ooh, awesome.
Yeah. So there you go. All right. So I just brought this up where the Egg of Coot actually is, because this map you can see it really well. There at Org of Oot, and there's Tonsberg up here. Yeah. So it's a lot of the area is it's weird because whenever I think of Blackmore in this area, I think it's of a technological society that has ate itself or destroyed itself, or something happened, right? And that there's no one living here, but that's not the case, Yeah. So it's not the case at all. It's not like a one of these lost temples where there may be some monsters in it now, but there's a lot of individuals that live in and around it. So yeah. The Clockwork Citadel in the City of the Gods. Yep, absolutely. That's true. That's true, Troy. So, very cool. So, we did do an entire show. It's probably been about 2 years on Blackmore, just so you are all
we did
aware.
some years ago. We had Dan on and stuff. Yeah.
Just as an aside, too, that's one of the few maps over there, the ones that you just got rid of, that has the Brink Islands in it. And I ran about maybe a 6-month play-by-post game on Cannon Fire set in the Brink Islands.
Right? Oh, wow.
Maybe 7 years ago or so, maybe 8 years ago.
Play-by-post 7-8 years ago. Wow.
Hey, Justinius, great to see you, brother.
Hello.
Lots of lost and ancient buried tech. Yeah, so are the Gary Hoyans of the world going crazy on this, just like they are with Expedition to Barrier Peaks?
I don't think so. I think it's a little bit different of a vibe.
Okay.
So
it's not outer space tech.
No, it's not outer space stuff.
Yeah. All right. Very nice. Very, very cool. So as we move on from that, so let's go in chronological order. Is From His Cold Dead Hands the first winter?
My first Cold North adventure? I think it is technically no, actually I take that back. Sanguine Labyrinth predated it.
Oh, Sanguine Labyrinth does predate it.
Sanguine Labyrinth predated it.
Okay. Let's see, which do I have? Which game's hard to win on PDF? Okay. So this is the first of the trilogy. Excuse me, I got a tickle cough.
Yep, that's the first one, and that's the one that would come to set the tone for about 5 years of my life.
And this is right up Anna's alley, because we're talking about it's Wailing Halls.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It's the Dungeon of Bleeding Walls.
Sorry. Damn. Dungeon. Where is that?
It's right up. You're almost there.
I see it. Yep.
Yep.
It's not in the bitter north, but it's still bitterly cold. It's in the hang on a second. That
it's
one.
Bitter north adjacent, so I kind of consider it.
Yeah. I'm just so we know our geography. It's actually in the northern reaches. Is that part called? That region. So we keep our geography straight here. Yeah. It's as cold as the bitter north, but it's cold the northern reaches. Yeah.
So it's technically not a part of the Rovers of the Barrens. It's part of the Burning Cliffs and the wastes.
Yeah, that's kind of depends on when you're talking. If you talk early, pre-576, I would call it part of the Rovers of the Barrens. But past the wars and IU's takeover? No.
I don't think
Or
so.
on the borderlands of the rovers, but it's probably not organized in any sense anywhere, so to speak. But I guess the IU simply got to so many of the rovers that they didn't stop patrolling that area afterwards.
Yeah, in my the way that I have it set up in because like my adventures, I think many of you guys know that have bought Castle Entertainment Adventures before know this, but what I'm trying to do when I'm writing those modules is it's not just really a module. I'm also trying to give a little bit of a regional source book for the area. I'm trying to
Which is
give
awesome.
a little bit of development for the region, and my take on that area is that you've still got some of the rovers tribes over there. I mean, they're clinging threadbare to existence because they've been cut off from the rest of their tribe for the most part. Their wool be gone because they keep getting blasted by IUs or the horrors that he's unleashed in the area. So it's a really tough. It's a bad area to live in.
Well, it's tough enough even without any evil interference and stuff. It's harsh enough anyway. So yeah,
I will do a happy dance if you really want me to as well, Big Mac. I'll try that.
Well, we may have enough people that roll in here. We're only 40 minutes in, so I've
right on.
Usually, after the first hour, we really get some more people hopping in. So,
well, the whole reason why they're sending the PCs into the Dungeon of Bleeding Walls is because they're going in at the Rover's behest, and that's because they need some kind of weapon with which to fight, and they basically send the PCs in there to recover what you can because we have no resources, we have nothing, so they send the best and finest of their tribe and their allies to go in there, and then they meet with, of course, predictable disaster.
So this is for levels 7 through 11.
Yeah, it's one of my higher level ones.
So that's good, but as you go 8 to 12, 9 to 13 on the next two, Root of All Evil?
No, the second one is let me see.
I can bring it
The
up.
next one is yes, it is the last one is 9 to 13. The next one is 8 to 12.
Okay. Cool. Very cool. So give us. A lot of people don't know what this location is, so if you want to put it.
Okay, well, yeah, the Dungeon of Bleeding Walls / Sanguine Labyrinth. Really, all it mentions is that it is an ancient dungeon, possibly of elven design. It mentions that the dungeon's actual walls bleed acid, and it creates these toxic clouds in the halls and the rooms of the Dungeon of Bleeding Walls. And it also mentions at the end that there is the potential for 3 vampire drow to live in the bottom of it. And I promised myself, I swore to God a few modules ago that I would never write drow again because I hate writing drow blocks so much. But here I am. If you see the cover of it, there's my drow vampires at the bottom of it.
That's okay.
Yeah.
That's okay. So we also note that I always pronounce it drow.
Yeah, a lot of people do, and I always thought that I was in the majority when I said drow, but I guess I'm not.
No, that's not necessarily true because I hack everything, right? Oops. I'm hitting wrong buttons everywhere, guys and gals. There we go.
It's funny. I used to say drow because that's how you would pronounce it more in Swedish from the letters. But now when I've been here for over 10 years, I'm starting to be more like drow because I hear more and more Americans say drow. So I'm starting to go on the drow towards that a bit. So it's kind of weird. Yeah.
And it's too ingrained in me right now. I can't think of it any other way.
That's all right.
Yeah. Oh yeah, for me,
there's so many names that we've said differently. Yeah. So many.
Well, it's made up people, so we can.
Not only that, but I think in the 70s, especially in the early 80s, we lived in kind of a vacuum. Communication wasn't like how it is now. So however your small group said it, in wherever you lived in America or around the world, however your small groups, that's how it was.
Yeah, you only had the books and the modules. You didn't have the internet. You didn't have video or any of that. Yep.
Let's also note something about this, and I think I was under the misnomer, and a lot of people, that this was a creation of IU's. It's not. It's not an IU'sing thing at all.
No, it's just in the book.
Right.
It's in the book.
Well, I use as a relative newcomer to the set. I mean, he's only a few hundred years old. He might call himself the old one, but to me, that's just propaganda to boost up his like I've been here forever kind of credentials.
Well,
But
if you're interested in
yeah,
ancient Earth lore or ancient Elven lore, those are the modules you want. I have no less than 4 forgotten gods. I have a history that goes back to the beginning of time in on Earth as the elves reckon it. I discuss what actually happened in the birth of the elven race. I discuss, oh yeah, there's an entire section in here called the Narseldi Pantheon, in which I tell you all about what the Pantheon is like now and what it was like then. And it's
Wow.
very, very different. I think this most recent module, I'm counting like 16 new magic items. Yeah. Oh, we've got all kind. Oh, yeah. You know, this got a such good reviews in the past that I really want to go all out and give everybody, you know, it had to be an epic ending that where everybody got their money's worth. So
So
hopefully you guys dig it when you guys get it, and or if you don't get it, that's cool too. But hopefully the ones of you guys that do get it, that I hope you like it.
so the next one, Root of All Evil, is actually still here, but levels 4 down. Correct?
Yes,
This is almost like
yes.
almost like which one was it? The Zane mazes? There's 3 of them, or is it
Yeah, this one is the next 3
Rakanathic? Yeah.
levels down. The first one is module is levels 1 to 3, and that's 4 to 4, 5, and 6.
My
So
question:
so
You able to expedition in and out of these like temple or stuff? Or you?
no, you are not. You lock in when you go in, and that's part of the whole conceit. One of the things I think that is understated in modules that I like to do a lot, and you'll know this if you ever play in my games, is I love environmental hazards, stuff that you constantly have to deal with that kill you by slow attrition.
Yeah, like Tamoakan.
Cold. Tomokan is a great example of that. Cold effects are
Yes. Yeah.
part of that. Hey, Canadian, great to see you, brother.
Hey,
I got
Patrick.
something good for you later, man.
hello.
Patrick, I got a lot more
Um,
books this week too. You're crazy, but thank you.
but yeah, ask me about the elevator trap in Golden. Yes, that's a good example. Drowning is a good example. Cannibal. I have an awful drowning trap in the Heart of Winter that Justinius can tell you all about. But in the Dungeon of Bleeding Walls, so it was right up my alley. You've got bleeding acidic walls, and you've got these toxic clouds that you constantly have to deal with. Oh, it's fantastic.
That's
Oh,
perfect.
I meant Heart of Winter. Yeah, absolutely, Justinia. Sorry about that.
Cool.
But yeah, I love environmental exposure and horrible things like that. And so these modules all have that. And in particular, this module here, you can see Root of All Evil. The main big bad guy in it is, you know how elves always love their central tree within their strongholds and stuff. Well, this particular case, this is a treant with its heartwood rotted out that
Nice.
has been corrupted by the goings on in the Sanguine Labyrinth, and so it's this awful, terrible thing like that. But because it is a tree, it is an oxygen-rich environment, and so
Oh,
you
this
can
is
only
good.
imagine what that does with fire. You know
Jeez.
how PCs love fire.
Yes. I always say, come with alternate forms of.
Oh, you'll
Mass
better
Effect.
have alternate elemental forms in my
You're gonna blow
games.
yourself up.
Yeah, so you got all kinds of good stuff like that.
And then the third and final, which is yes, kind of
Yes, this has been the
spoiler
last
cover.
4 months of my life. Yep, that's my favorite cover probably that we have had. That's my favorite cover that we've done. That's the great Daniel Govar. He did all 3 of the covers for the modules. Those are my 3 vampire drow,
I'll
drow,
speak up.
whatever you want to call them, as you can see in there. Yeah, the 3 of them were the 3 first artists ever in the history of the elves. One was a sculptor, the other was a musician, and the other was a writer. And so as you can see on their crypts over there, you can see a book, you can see the violin, and you can see the sculpting tools on there.
Cool.
And so as a result of their, their treachery against the elven race at the beginning of time, they were consigned to this place until they could either be rehabilitated or until they were
So they're
forgotten.
thousands of years old.
Thousands and thousands and
Which
thousands
means
of
they're
years.
probably all completely insane.
Oh, you can't even imagine.
So someone's going to win all three of these tonight. You understand that, right?
Yep.
That's what
Yeah,
the giveaway is.
I'm really eager to give them out to somebody, man. I want to, I write these modules for the community to enjoy and, to add to our lore. And it's, again, that's one of the reasons why I get people involved from the outside in creating them. So I really am eager to see what people think of them and get a chance to play them and touch them and feel them. So this is the part that's exciting for me, is when, they're going out the door. And it's not just because I'm a company and I'm trying to make money. It's because I do this for the community.
Absolutely, man. You do
what I love. And
so here's my rhetorical question. I know this one's not up yet, but when can someone who doesn't have them order all three of them at the same time, like me?
You could get it one of three ways. Again, if you're a member of the Patreon and you're at the appropriate level, you'll get them that way next month. And the month after that, then they're going to be released out in the wild.
All right, cool. Because two of them are available. We're just waiting for within.
Yeah, so I encourage you, if you're interested, absolutely go through the Patreon, and either you can get them if you want just the PDF, you can get them on a cheap level. If you get them on you can get them through, if you want the actual hard copy, you can go that way, and you'll get modules from me every 3 months that way too. So
that is awesome. Yep, there you go. Yep.
Thanks so much, Extort. Hey, brother, I miss you, man. Good to see you again.
All right. So we've gone over, and I know it's close enough, right, Anna? It's close enough.
Well, the climate is the same, so
yeah,
it's definitely better, and it's far north. Yeah,
it is definitely better.
So let's. We're also going to do an exception over here. Let's flip all the way out here to Jot Splat, right?
Oh, okay. We'll do Jot Splat.
Yeah, because I have that one.
Man. If you really want to talk about the very first Cold North work I did, that would be actually be the previous to the writing of From His Cold Dead Hands. I wrote a small mini source book about the city of Jot Splat, which is one of my favorite locations in the Cold North, or I should up in the Cold North. I love it because I actually did a little bit of adventuring there as when I was a player, and I got a chance to do reflect some of the stuff I did up there. So,
what's the?
Sapphire, you have no idea how close you are to right when you say that, because Jot Splat, when I was actually designing the background for it, the leader of Jot Splat, the Jarlind of Jot Splat, is actually very loosely based on a minor Game of Thrones character. So yeah, the leader of Bear Island.
So levels 5 to 7, another area up in the frozen wastes and the tundra. What general synopsis of this one?
Of Cold Dead or of Jot Splat?
We got Cold Dead Hands.
Oh, Cold Dead. Oh yeah, there's a out there in the sea, in the frozen sea up there, you have a small island on which a white dragon lives, and he comes and he rampages all the time through Jot Splat and all the territories south of on the mainland, south of the of his island home.
Okay.
Thanks. That's awesome.
Is it this island or is it another one?
Yeah, there's your island right there.
Cool. Awesome.
And the white dragon goes there, and basically the leader of Jot Splat, Solveig, ends up sending Jarlin Solveig ends up sending the adventurers up there to put an end to the ravages of the dragon. And what we get to find out is, on top of riding the dragon is an ancient king of the area, who is now a lich-like character.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, it's
perfect.
That, yeah, he's a bad dude, as I'm sure Justinius will tell you.
Very cool. So
just the Lady Mormont picture, it wouldn't probably be exactly right, because I have her as a redhead in the actual books. I went very close to her Sewell imagery, but you're not too far off either way.
So,
Thanks so much, Extort. I love that one.
so Anna, as far as content up here, I know you and I both. I've, like I said, run very little up here. Like, what interests you, or what would you say? Hey, this has got opportunity. This has got potential. I mean, Pearland's pretty well developed now, which is good. I mean, there's a
Yeah,
lot going on
Pearland
in
has a
Pearland.
lot of cool stuff. One of the things that I think is prime adventure territory that we need to talk about again is the Howling Hills.
Okay.
And that is, to me, it's one of the key bits. And one that I think could be a really, really cool campaign is the wolf nomads against the IUCN humanoids and various IUCN, meaning you have the I have the domain of the Ursun up there, Ursuna Guard and various other cool places from IUs, and then you have the old traditional burial grounds and stuff from the wolf nomads that IUs end up taking. And that I think is really cool, because that's a campaign. If you want to have a dark, grim feel, but not horror necessarily, but you want to have like a martial kind of very gray campaign where you can, neither side is good per se. They can both trade or they can backstab each other as needed, so to speak. Then either side is not strong enough to obliterate the other one, meaning that the IUCNs are the wolf nomads would definitely not penetrate far into IUCN territory. But on the other hand, the IUCNs will not go into, because the wolf nomads raid parties is enough to make any IUCN cleric go gets the stiff spine and gets scared, so to speak. So to me, that is kind of, if you want to, maybe not a long-term campaign, but if you want something with some good fights and some cool wilderness and kind of an outdoor kind of skirmish type campaign, I could see that will be immense interesting to run a campaign like that. You can
also, I have an unreleased mini module. I shouldn't even say it's a mini module. I think it's 13 pages, 14 pages for my Patreon that I will release at some point in time. That is spirit in that area.
Yeah, so I have like that. There's Ursuna Guard that I has as a metropolis, that the orcs of Ursun, or it's their metropolis is. I use northern kind of stronghold, so to speak. They are guarding the northern part, so to speak, and they're raising their cattle and maintaining it, so to speak. They are part of IUCN's his strong suit, so to speak. But they run themselves to a large degree, as long as they keep the IU's northern frontier secure. IU's doesn't matter much, and as long as they will go on expeditions and fight for him, he's okay, so to speak. But then you have interesting thing. You have the groaning mines that provide some of the IUCN resources. You have the Wegwur thralls, that is one of the old burial cultural sites of the wolf nomads that are, meaning they're west of the Dulce River, but IUs have kind of want to have a buffer, so to speak. So he's going further west. And then you have another one that I think is more of an IUCN keep and Krangord, that is one of IU's western kind of holdouts, so to speak, that probably the wolf nomads will go and harass as needed, so a bit more west.
I thought you were saying Kundragun. Sorry.
No, that's a bit, yeah,
Krangord.
Krangord. Yeah, Krangord. Yeah, and up there, and then we have you have the swirlers. That there's a bunch of old kind of weird sites that are part of ancient history in the Howling Hills. You have the Spear Tor, Kendragun, Soul Husk Caverns, and the Soul Husk Caverns is one of my absolute favorite places in all of Flanese. That's
a horrible area.
I use started his experiments and stuff that led him to really put into the evil ascendancy, so to speak. The Soul Husk Caverns is where some of these early experiments took place and are left there, so to speak. And it's a really cool place where you can, if you want to have like a grim horror cave, then that's a really cool place. And if that was not enough, you have the Drenghus caverns east of them, where you have a shadow dragon that has taken hold there, and I've named her Rishnil, and she's one of she's a huge shadow dragon and she's not against Ayus, but she's serving Ayus when it pleases her, so to speak. And Ayus is, as long as she's there and eating everyone that will be good and an enemy to Ayus, he doesn't want to spend a lot of resources, and the orcs definitely don't want to go there and kill her. So she's there, and that kind of mutual respect, so to speak, in that sense. But she will definitely go out when she wants to feed on something interesting. She will take whatever local poor souls of any kind that will be around, so to speak. And Drengus also have ancient history and stuff that you can deal in. And I use the evil. A lot of these places are detailed, so to speak. Ursunagard is only mentioned as a little stronghold. I made it into an orcish metropolis in my campaign. So I added a bunch of other places up there too. So it's one of these places where you can develop as needy. If you want to have it just as a bunch of wild hills with some orcs in it, fine. But I wanted to have a strong Ayusian northern frontier, so to speak, where that's where one of the stomping ground for his troops, where he gathers resources from. So it's his backyard. And they're done by the domain of the Ursuns. Yeah.
So let's while I remember in my old age,
Yeah.
A couple other publications that are nearby that we haven't even, I don't think anyone's discussed ever here, and this is by Will. And this instead of Tang the Horrific, he has Tomb of Zhang the Horrific. So this is like the Northern Rovers. Where's this place in the Rovers? Well,
I'm not sure where this is.
Yeah, but it's definitely in the Rovers of the Barrens. I'm almost positive in the northern reaches somewhere. Yeah, I'm almost 100% sure. Layout traditional adventure. So, and by the way, so with Will DMing Western Rovers. Okay, so it's up here near the Dragon Hills. It's up here. Whoop, near the Dragon Hills. Will, you just tell me. So, I got a bunch of stuff from Will that will be giving away, some of it coming up on Saturday when he DMs. So I got stuff everywhere. Oh, here they are. Yeah, all of Will's publications now. So giveaways, yeah, Chuck. So I don't have to rely on just you and all, but yeah, we got a whole bunch of things here, and that's one of them. So very cool. All right, let's see here. Also, Troy gave us the map of Traft in Lake Quag. So we have actually a map of the city in Perrinland, which we didn't have before. So, and it looks like campaign cartographer.
Maybe or Incarnate. I'm not
sure. It's
Incarnate.
More
right. Incarnate.
It's Incarnate. It's Incarnate.
What city was this?
Traft.
Okay.
Yeah. Yep. So, which is cool. 8K resolution done in Incarnate. Holy jeez. So there we go. So we now have.
That looks cool.
Yeah. Yep. So we now have Traft. I'm assuming this is for an adventure you're doing, Troy. So it's more goodness. Whoops! I got so many things open now. The stream's gonna go plop fizz in a second. I know. So if we come over and find out where Traft is in Perrinland.
And Perrinland is such a cool country too that has a rich history, especially if you think about Igwilv, and has a very interesting recent history, which go back some hundreds of years. Oh yeah, that looks awesome.
Perrinland Adventures, okay,
Troy.
Cool. Yep. Horror Quest, yeah, awesome. He shouldn't have changed his name from Perrinland Adventures. He should have never done that, because WotC's not coming after him. They're coming after anyone. It's the Gan and me. So I'm serious, right? You never know. But
there's some, when it comes to Perrinland in that area, there were some developments in Living Greyhawk that I didn't like much.
A lot of
that kind of was that they were mistreating the area, in my opinion. They added cool stuff, but the political, I think they got that one wrong, from my opinion. But on the other hand, it's cool that you have a lot of
Mordenkainen's chocolate factory in Perrinland. Double thumbs down from me.
What? Yeah, there's some weird stuff there, so to speak. But on the other hand, they introduced some interesting stuff. They developed Kershani as an elven stronghold from the past, which I think was awesome. But then they gave it over to the Perrinlanders as a sort of little side thing, which was like, no. I don't think for a second they would succumb to the Paralanders. So I kept Kirshane and Sedhane. Those are two in Elven area. So I made that the last of the old Elven mountain strongholds that are talked about back in history. That's the only one that still exists. So it's like the Rivendell of the Flanies in that sense.
It makes no sense being Paraland where it is too.
Well, maybe can make sense in some perspective, but I don't like that part. I like it that the Elvens are too proud for that, the elves, so they kept it. And it's also so isolated, so it was hard to conquer. And but it's also interesting in Paraland. You also have what is it? Exit. Hang on a second.
Exag.
Yeah,
Exag.
Exag up in
and Crestable.
Yeah, exactly. And
All these
Exag, we don't know
connectors.
much about Exag, but my explanation that
Dunavir.
Exag is its own domain is that it was never conquered either by the Great Kingdom when they were up and gathered the area, or Igvolv. So that's why it's now an independent city. It was one of these that held out through the invaders, so to speak, and with some dwarven help and stuff. So that's my backstory. But you can run it some other way if you want to. But that's my kind of idea of that. Exag was the one that turned into a free city because they were not invaded either by or taken over either by Igvolv or before then the Great Kingdom.
We have a large article / adventure on Exag in Dungeon Magazine, by the way.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yep.
Oh, there is.
Yep. There is a little bit. Yep. Mm-hmm.
That was during Living Greyhawk era.
No, I think it's before.
No,
I think.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Wow.
I at the risk of being offensive, I ignore the Living Greyhawk stuff in Paraland. It just does not suit at all what my vision of Paraland is.
I cherry pick certain things from it and then ignore the rest. The ones that sounds like subway stations from Frankfurt, I kind of ignore those names and so on. And unfortunately, my German is too close to home for me. It sounds like the Frankfurt subway stations, and I kind of so I kind of skip that a little bit. I want a little bit more fantasy in it, but they added some cool stuff. But the overall situation, I think they screwed that one up, in my opinion, too. So I agree with you, Carlos. That was kind of a lot of weird stuff.
Yeah, but
interesting. Well, it's good to know.
Yep.
So, and I did not realize it was pre Living Greyhawk, that publication.
Yeah, I think it was. Yeah, I think it was. Yeah. But it is an interesting area, and it's another little cool thing that you might do with Lake Quag. I have it that Lake Quag, it's so cold. It's like the Lake Baikal of the Flanies, meaning it's so far up.
I agree with that. That's
exactly
where I have it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's so far north, and it's also so high up that on the high plateau, and the open landscape is towards the north. So that one probably freezes over. The other big lakes like Weistil and Nerdum and stuff probably rarely or if ever freezes over with any significant amount of ice. But Lake Quag, it probably freezes over. So you can skate, or you can use big, or what you will call them, ice sleighs with skates on them, and you can sail really quickly across. So that opens up for some cool transportation opportunities. So Lake Quag is probably one of these lakes that is even easier to traverse in winter. You can probably go really easy across, and it's kind of a highway in winter.
That size, it completely freezes?
Yes. Yeah.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah, the size doesn't really matter in that sense. It freezes over because if the temperature is just cold enough on the top, it freezes over. And it's bigger than Lake Baikal, but not by much. And we also have to remember, Lake Baikal is the deepest lake in the world. It's like 20,000 feet deep or something. So and it freezes over. And I haven't been to Lake Baikal, but I've been to other frozen lakes in Russia and Scandinavia, and some of these ice can be 10, 20 feet thick. And the other thing is that if it freezes when it's really cold and it's not that windy and it freezes cold, it freezes so solid that it becomes like glass. So
Right.
you can actually see through it down, especially if there is no snow and the sun shines, you can almost get vertigo because you can see the bottom down. And also the other thing is that in winter, when it's so cold, there is hardly no mud or sedimentary in the water. So the water also becomes super clear.
You will
So
get vertigo on that
yeah.
because I've skated on that
Mhm.
playing hockey before on that
Yeah.
kind of
Mhm.
surface. It
Yep.
is, yeah, it's tough.
Yeah. So I can imagine that Lake Quag can be a big type of lake like this. So for a couple of months every winter, it probably freezes over enough that you can bring out the big things, like you can take a horse and buggy over, so to speak, or you can use winds and you can sail across it using on skates and really quickly. So you can, that opens up for some cool fantasy adventures where you can go across the lake. And trade is probably brisk both in the summer and the winter over the lake.
One other thing that you have to remember too on a lake that's as big as that, and given the rest of the geography around that area with the teals configured the way they are, that is a wind tunnel going
Yes.
straight down.
Yeah.
Okay, so you're going to be
Well, it's
quite a bit,
closed on three sides, so
yeah,
it's not a wind crossover, but
no,
it can definitely be windy.
yeah.
Yes.
So
Especially at
where
altitude,
you're
it's
at, for
super
sure.
windy. Yeah,
Okay.
and it's also one of these areas that has a very defined inland climate, meaning
Mhm.
the winters can be brutally cold, and it's probably dry all year round. It's has a cold steppe climate, meaning it's just a little bit of rain, very dry all year round. The summers are very hot and dry, and the winters are very hot, very cold and dry. So agriculture is not much in Pearland. So it's probably very dry because you have mountains on all sides except north.
Yeah,
And
you're
there's
dealing with agriculturally there, you're dealing with stuff like cabbage, you're dealing with
Kale.
carrots,
yeah,
things that kale, things that are uh
yeah.
roots and tuber kind of things.
Yeah, and then you simply, there's probably enough grazing and grass to go around, so you have your sheep, goats, and a few cows and stuff. So you can raise it, meat culture. It's a bit like Mongolia or Mongolian climate, or from central Siberian
Yeah,
climate in
I
that
was gonna say
sense.
Siberia too.
Yeah, very dry and very cold in the winter, but also very hot in the summer. That's the paradox. Yeah.
Hmm.
And winter and fall can go between the extremes very quickly because you have the weather opening is north, not east and west. So you don't get ocean air, you get the northern parts, so to speak. So yeah.
Awesome. Teach me something new every day about. I
Yeah.
didn't realize that the Raskill said only Lake Erie used to freeze completely over, but I
Mhm.
can't imagine
Yeah,
like
he's right though. It doesn't anymore. It
yeah,
doesn't
Yeah.
anymore.
But
okay,
those are lowland lakes. The Great Lakes of North America are all down on the flatland. The
okay.
Lake Quag is probably much higher up, on much more of a high plateau between the mountains.
So it's kind of like Colorado. It's and stuff where
Yeah,
it's pushed
exactly.
up.
It's much, yeah,
Okay,
because we know that because we have
all right.
all the Diva River and all the Wystill and those lakes where they are on the lower elevation, so to speak. So the river is flowing so far that it needs to be at least a few thousand feet above sea level. So yeah.
Okay, very cool.
Yeah, I live less than 5 miles from Lake Erie, so I
Yeah.
familiar with
Mhm.
that.
And that also means that both the wolf nomads and tiger nomads are also on high plateaus because they need to be even, for the most part, even higher than Lake Quag. So they are also high and dry. So they are like Siberian or yeah, Siberian or like northern parts of Canada climate. So it's dry and cold, and then you have a few hot and dry summer months. So it's very inland climate because they're so high up that you don't get much moisture from the coast. The only difference comes when we have to make some little amends here. When you get that around those roaring 60s, then you have less of coastal mountains and stuff disappears. So then you have open water from open air from east and west, and that's probably what you get the Burnwell forest from, because the air becomes more moist, so to speak, when you reach those levels of so far north, so to speak. There is no mountains east and west, so that means that weather can move from ocean to ocean. and
Okay.
that probably opens up. That's at least the explanation, because that should be fairly dry, but it's kind of cool that we have it. But those are probably the type of lark trees that you have in Siberia, that in winter their needles they they release their needles and drop them, just like the deciduous tree does. So in the winter they're just barren stems with and then they grow new needles in the summer again. So that's probably the type of trees. So they're probably those lark trees, I think they're called in English.
I guess I would be remiss at this point if I didn't mention that I have a module in that area. I have a module titled "When Comes the Witching Hour." At that.
Let's bring it up.
Cool. Yep.
That's one of the first ones I did.
That's Witch Queen's Lament.
That was over 100 pages. Yeah, that's Lament. That one's.
Yeah.
When Comes Witching Hour is what number?
C11, I believe. Right off the top of my head.
Hold on one second here.
Yep,
I
C11.
may have it in my log here.
Yeah, you played in that one, Justin. Yes, that one is an absolutely brutal meat grinder. Oh, the module that got you back. Thanks so much, man. But yeah, that's that one deals with Igloliv and some ideas that have been planted throughout history in about Castle Greyhawk.
I got it.
Even though it's in Pearland, some ideas about Castle Greyhawk are involved.
Oh, that looks cool. Yeah.
Thanks. Yeah, that one's the great Daniel Govar did that one for me as well. You can always tell when Daniel does a module cover on me. For me, I've got to step up my game to meet the art quality. So I'm always liking those.
Oh, that's fantastic. So that's another 9 to 12. So a lot of people complain they're not enough high level adventures. Well, we've shown a couple already.
Yep. Shout out to Lady Silver Fox, by the way, in that one. I've always loved the Silver Fox family in the Free City of Greyhawk, and that they played that one too.
I've heard you mention that name before. That's cool.
Yeah, I'm playing. It's funny. I like the Silver Fox family so much. As a matter of fact, I'm playing a lesser son of the family in Alan Grove campaign.
So
he's a cleric he's a paladin of Dayern.
So let me ask you a question.
You
like the Silver Foxes so much. How come they don't bust your stones about them? When everyone busts my stones about all the Winchesters I have.
Oh, I don't know. I don't do a ton with them. I mean,
okay.
I have a PC in there. I have her mentioned in there,
and joking.
Oh no, I take that back. And there is one other Silver Fox reference I have in my charity thing. Hounds of Oworth. I did one of the dogs in there is the Free City Silverhound.
Nice.
So, which I had to do that in there because, well, hey, they're the Silver Foxes.
See?
And also, the reason why people don't bust my stones about the Silver Foxes is, if I remember correctly, about the Winchester family from back in the Horror and the Hould days, the Winchester that you used in that game was a little controversial of an individual.
Yes, but now.
So I think that might be where it comes from.
Right, but now he's like a legend because Curtis played him during Tharasden at Founders and Legends and was the hero of the adventure. So now he wants me to do a Fritz fan club shirt. So
well, there you go.
Yeah, we can talk about Fritz when he'll act him out when he comes on. So
okay, I can't wait.
Yeah, definitely. So let's talk now. Uh-oh. Yeah, no, Fritz. There's Jeff's like Fritz. Yeah, exactly. Luxa turns colors to Mahar is impossible. Some things are impossible or meant to be tough. All right, let's do the nomads here before we go up Bernial and more up further north. So you got both the wolf and the tiger nomads. I don't know. You say both of them against IUs or mostly just the wolf nomads?
Well, the wolf nomads are the ones that are in the IU's ways, so to speak. The tiger nomads, they have geography on their side, so to speak. Right. They are so far away from what happens in the east and IU's that I don't think they need to worry too much.
Yeah, they're more of a concern for the Bacloonish.
Exactly. They have both their part of their cultural roots, their connections, but I guess also their animosities and their competition is with each other, and for the tiger nomads with the Bacloonish south, so to speak.
Okay.
And the wolf nomads are kind of caught in between. So they are the ones that probably have to toughen up because they have way more stiff competition on their borders, but they also have quite a large area. So I guess it's part of the wolf nomads tactics, both tigers and wolf. Instead of, you don't stand and hold your ground fighting to the last man at this point. You retreat, and then you come back and strike with the enemy when you can. You gather strength and an ambush attack somewhere where it's on your beneficial for you, and then you flee, so to speak. You don't stand and fight bravely on equal numbers and get slaughtered. No, I see them as skirmish ambush hunters in that sense, so to
Of
speak,
You know,
course.
and
Anna, I think
fighters.
we need to have a discussion with a lot of the players in my games.
Yeah.
You mean they stand to deliver, Carlos?
Oh, they stayed and delivered to the end, baby.
Oh yeah, but because that would not be, when you have so much land, it's easy to retreat a few days and then regroup and then wait a few months, and then when it's beneficial on your terms, that's when you hit the enemy hard, so to
Oh,
speak. And
absolutely.
you hit him when it's
Okay.
soft. And if I make a stronghold, you don't attack and waste troops on the stronghold. You kill everyone who's delivering something to or from it. And for enough time that the poor bastards are starving, that's when they are trying to flee it. And then you take it over. I see the wolf nomads having patience and tactics, and also very flexible in that sense, so to speak. And
Okay.
they don't go out in small numbers. They go out in probably a few hundreds in their parties. So they're strong enough to, if they run into trouble, at least they have enough strength that they can flee, and they can always make sure that not a few of them can be hit by Ayusian forces. And they also on horseback, they're swift, fast, and they kind of know their terrain, and they also use the depth as their primary asset. Movement and depth is what I would see they use. But Ayusians are kind of, they build the strongholds, and the wolf nomads, they attack it, or anyone come to and from it when it pleases them, so to speak.
As soon as we start talking about the wolf nomads and the tiger nomads, guess who shows up?
The ever mysterious Tim?
Yes, there you go.
The ever mysterious Tim.
Yep.
Yes. So.
And I also see the wolf nomads as much more flan, meaning that flan Becloonish kind of something, and then the tiger nomads as kind of Becloonish with a little bit of flan in them or something. So something like that, so to speak. But also now comes to my campaign theory, so to speak, for the area. And now I'm going into Greyhawk, which is when beyond. So this is not public lore or any of that. This is my idea of how this area was shaped, and as a way of trying to incorporate Dave Arneson's old Blackmore as well. That we had an ice age leading just prior to the migrations. This was an ice age area that was frozen over, so to speak. So if you go back 1,500 years or 2,000 years, then this was frozen over. It was frozen all the way down to the Thornwood Gap. So no one lived here. It was big ice, and there were maybe some white dragons and other critters, but no civilization, so to speak.
Okay.
But prior to that ice age, if you go back 5,000-6,000 years ago, roughly. I haven't put the timeline down specifically, but before that, then it was a warmer area, a warmer time before, and then this area was temperate, and that's where the Sewell Empire was in the west, in the northwest, around the Drawmage. The Blando Black Ice was not formed yet, and the area that we know as Blackmore was settled by Sewell and others up there, and elves and others. That was an area they lived in back then, and this was temperate areas. And then as the climate got colder and descended, they fled. Most of them fled south, or some of them fled east. So some of the descendants of the cold, the barbarians of the Theronian lived up here at that time, so to speak, 3,000-4,000 years ago, and then they had to flee east. Some, in my opinion, all the way out to the Fire Island, and even beyond there, and then they became the Sewell of the Northeast that we know of today. But go back 3,000-5,000 years ago, they were part of the Sewell Empire that was up in the north, far north of what we know today, so to speak. That's my idea of what was there and why it was there.
Interesting.
Yep.
There's some evidence to support what you're saying as well in that about the Sioux occupation of that area, because
Yep.
we know that there was a tribe called the Zei that is along the Tusking
Yep.
Strand. Now,
Yep.
some people suggest that it's that's a splinter from the Great Migration, but that could also be just as easily be what you're talking about over there too.
Yep, and that history is now so far away that it's basically lost to myth and legend, so to speak. It's so far away that it's not part of recorded history anymore. But some elves probably know it, have in their records and so on. But it's so that's why I have the wolf nomads and the tiger nomads are about 1,000 years old. They started to start hunting north around 900 years ago. They were the first one that came up, started hunting when the ice started to subside and it started to grow, so to speak. And the Blackmore, that also they started to come up there and took over. So there's some ruins and stuff that made Blackmore an interesting area, because there are ruins and stuff from a previous civilization and that you can kind of dig into that was left a few thousand years earlier. So, and there might be more ruins under the black ice that we don't know about.
By the way, I have a Mr. Softy truck right outside my. That's what you hear the music. It's a Mr. Softy truck. Okay,
no,
some people can hear it.
Oh, but it's awesome.
Here comes some.
Yep.
Oh, there's Brett.
Hello.
Let's see if he gets his
Hey.
audio done.
Hey.
Hello.
What's going on, man?
Another beautiful day in the big city.
Yeah,
cool.
welcome.
It's good to see you, dude.
Good to see you guys. Hi, Anna. Hi, Carlos.
Hello, how you doing?
Is this the first time you've ever been on the channel?
Yep.
Wow.
I've been on your stream.
Yeah.
That's it, man. That's fantastic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Who has two thumbs and is on your stream? This guy.
I forewarned
I'm
Carlos
stealing Curtis's line.
Yeah, I forewarned Carlos about Fritz being a legend now, because Fritz is originally in the Horror and the Hools, and he was a real derelict in that. So I can't believe that. So he's still sitting there. I must be a whole line. Oh god, there's a whole line. I'm gonna have Mr. Softy going.
Now
I
hear some ice cream truck in the background. Yep.
It's so freaking loud. Yep. Oh, there's Bones. So
someone ordered him to park outside.
Well, that's where they parked, and that's where everyone's. So I don't know if my son and wife are out there too. All right. So we're going over a lot of the area here, and so I think we still got two of Carlos's to discuss: Heart of Winter and.
Heart of Winter is quite far to the east of that, but the one that you're about ready to talk about is just to the north.
And that's the Witch Queen's Lament. Yes. So, Brent, waiting for Curtis. Is he going to be any minute?
Yeah, he said he'd be on just a couple of minutes.
All right, cool.
Traffic, of course.
What's that?
Traffic, of course.
Oh yeah,
always
traffic.
when you're trying
It's
to get
always
home on
traffic.
time.
It's always something. It's always. So let's do Witch Queen's Lament here, as we got G2. Here we go. I have that one. I think I may have that one up. Let me take a look.
I saw it earlier.
Yeah, I actually have that one in PDF, too, along with. All right, so cool. All right.
Okay, so like I said, many of you guys know that I do commissions for conventions around America and around the world. They're official modules, and this is one of those. This is for GrogCon down in Florida. It was about 3 years ago that I did this, and they did a name the module competition, and the great Alan Growe from our community, Grodog, won the competition, and he came up with the title The Witch Queen's Lament and left it to me to name, to do whatever I would with it. A lot of you guys know that I have a background. My minor in college was literature with a concentration in Russian poetry, and so I was steeped in the Baba Yaga lore as all throughout my schooling. And one particular story, we all know, we're all exposed to the idea that Baba Yaga has her two daughters, Vasilisa the Fair and Natalia the Dark, who is Igwiliv, or at least conjectured to be Igwiliv. Well, there's a couple pieces of lore and short stories in there in which I read once that Igwiliv, they mentioned her three daughters. And my mind was absolutely blown as a student. I was like, wait a second, because all I knew about it was what I read in D&D at that point in time. I'm like, are you what, 3 daughters? Who's this third daughter? And that idea stuck in my head for literally 30 years until, well, no, yeah, about 30 years until I finally was able to execute it in the Witch Queen's Lament. So the story is all about her third daughter, Anya the Plain, who is pictured all the way on the right in that.
The blonde?
No, the
no.
one on the left is the blonde is Vasilisa the Fair.
Okay.
Iguliv's there over in the middle.
Right.
Baba Yaga is right behind Iguliv.
Right.
All the way on the right is Anya the Plain.
There you go. Look at that. Oh, Brett's got it too. Yes.
So yeah, well, I again, because I do regional source books, as that my modules are basically regional source books. Everything that I wrote in here, and this was written right before, probably maybe, I don't know, maybe 6 months before the Russian invasion of Ukraine. I decided to place this in the small strip of land that is between the land of black ice and the Burial Forest. And I gave the whole region a very Ukrainian feel. I thought it would be really cool to do that because I knew I was going to make it Baba Yaga, and a lot of the Baba Yaga lore that I know is very Ukrainian in nature. So I thought, you know what, let's steep us really deeply in Ukrainian lore and culture there. And so I got myself, one of my good friends is a native Ukrainian, and she contributed a lot of, place names and proper names and spellings and pronunciations to the guide in there. I believe I actually have a pronunciation guide in that module because I go so deep into the culture and the lore of the area. But that whole area, that whole strip over there is very near and dear to my heart. I call the Burial Forest in my adventure there the Pokhovana Forest, which is a Russian word for burial, which is close to burial, which is why you see that in that module. Absolutely, Seeker. Well done.
Uh-oh. Is he coming in character?
I think so.
Oh my gosh.
He's got the glasses on. That's
Somebody
for
say
sure.
Fritz? This guy!
There it is.
Oh, guys.
That's awesome.
Good to see you, Curtis.
Good to see you, Carlos. How are you?
Yes, it is BB fan. It is.
So we were just talking about how the Witch Queen's Lament. So which is an awesome adventure, and
which I haven't even cracked yet. I got it from Carlos at GaryCon, and it's sitting in my special area of my shelf up here. And I haven't even cracked that bad boy yet, and I can't wait.
Oh man, I hope you like it. You'll see a lot of familiar stuff in there. I think that some stuff that you'll be able to really get some ideas in it. Even if you don't run the entire module as written, it should be some good food for thought. There's a lot of cultural touchstones in there for the region.
Just based on what you described, I haven't cracked mine either. I picked it up from Alan at the booth when I was at GaryCon. But yeah, I can't wait.
Oh man, thanks so much. I appreciate it. It's I think you guys will dig it. Like I said, and I my whole love of that. Some of you may or may not know that when I was in the Air Force, my job was all about Russia, and so I kind of was steeped in that whole culture and the folklore and stuff like that. So that whole thing is near and dear to my heart.
Do a quick introduction for both of you gentlemen, please. Brett, go.
Hi, I'm Brett. For those of you who don't know me or haven't had a chance to meet me, been friends with Curtis for more years than I care to admit, and the two of us have done most of our D&D playing together whenever we could. Used to be a Greyhawk guy, and then we switched to the Realms for 30 years thereabouts, and are coming back to Greyhawk now. So feel way out of my league in terms of the amount of lore I have to catch up with, but I'm enjoying every minute of it.
Absolutely. So, Curtis.
Jay, how are you?
Okay. Thanks for coming, both of you.
Been hanging around for a few years now. Yeah, I was going to say it can be argued that I've known Brett too long at this point. What's funny is, though, if it weren't for Brett, we wouldn't be back
Oh, you're chopping.
in Greyhawk.
Okay.
Because we spent a lot of time playing Forgotten Realms, and our Greyhawk time was in the 80s. And I would say, really looking back at Greyhawk again, and not only did we turn back to Greyhawk and then get involved in the community, it was Brett said, you know what, we found an area in the Bernal Forest I'm really interested in. And the more I talked to the community and things, they've been looked, regarding published canon, there's not a lot. It's just there's not a lot of.
I hit 2 wrong buttons. I'm sorry. Dumbass. I was trying to rush. Yeah. So all right. So where are you guys?
Thanks, Jay.
Yeah. I'm sorry. Dumbass. Bernal Forest. Are you doing the eastern, western, central? Where are you guys playing?
So pretty much right where the Fleur exits south, down towards Lake Quag. That's kind of where I started my setting, right at the edge of the forest.
So right here.
Yep.
Okay. All right. Cool. There's nothing here. Your tag camp. That's it. Wow.
Yeah. There's nothing there except for what I decided to create. So that's kind of where I started off with some brand new players, which made it, probably more fun than it should have been. But it was a blast.
You start off at first. What level is everyone now?
Started them off at first there, and started them off in 5th edition because they were brand new players, wanted to try out 5th edition. A couple of them were huge Critical Role fans, so they really wanted to see what 5th edition was about. And now I'm bringing them back to first, which is exciting. Yes,
Is that
absolutely.
amazing how many people are coming back to old school? I wonder if it has anything to do with the gentleman above you, Carlos.
There's a lot of products out there.
I have
a lot of good content.
If I have anything to do with it, then I'm humbled, and that's a staggering statement to me. But I think that people have a tendency, at least in our subculture of gamers, we like to go backwards with things. Whether you're like a comic book collector and you're reading stuff and you want to get the back issues, or whether you're a collector of other types of things like that, you like to go back. And I think that a lot of people in our community hear some of the deep lore, and they get curious. And so that's one of the reasons why I wanted to create what I do, is because I want them to have something that they can read. I don't want Gary's life work in Greyhawk just to kind of be a dead language.
I agree 100%. I just like the system. I like the 1E2 system way better.
It's what I'm comfortable with.
Yeah, same here. Well, thank you, Thesaurus. Did I say that right? I hope so. Got me interested in Greyhawk playing too. Yeah, 1E2E. That's it. So thank you very much. So tell us, what's the gist of your game here?
So I created a town, and I did a lot of research into what I thought would be a realistic, sustainable medieval village in that area. Picking out what jobs would be necessary to sustain the town, and then set it up, a little place called Rolf's Landing, with probably the ubiquitous Rolf being a former adventurer who decided to go make his way in the frontier. And that's where I started them off. A lot of help from Curtis. Big shout out to him, actually, because I gave him a bunch of NPCs one day and I said, hey, I need some bones, some meat on these bones, right? Can you flesh out these NPCs for me? And I got back a 3-page email. He had them tied.
I like the old modules, like the old lens stuff and the old 1st edition stuff where you'd have a paragraph. Oh, it's Carlos the moneylender, and he's chaotic neutral. Lo and behold, what the players don't realize, he's actually a fence for the local thieves guild down and blah 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 blah. I absolutely love that stuff, and I could write it all day. So it worked out perfectly with Brett and I, because we know each other so well in terms of our campaign and our playing, that we kind of know what we're looking for without talking about it. And even if it's not known, a 15-minute discussion, it's like, oh, okay, got it, boom. and it started to take a life of its own. And the way I've kind of described too is Rolf's Landing, to me, at least my conception of it was, if you're familiar with the movie The Revenant, and it was that fortification that they had there, that's what I always think of. It's established, things can go in and out, and you get outside of that radius, you're in the deep forest really, really quick.
Right.
And you're dealing with a lot of wildlife, so to speak, but you're also dealing with some Greyhawk, and you're dealing with the Urtag, who I played out as really primitive, a lot more primitive than maybe some other people would act them out. So
nice. So and there's no other place for support anywhere nearby. So right.
No, they spend about 6 months out of the year pretty much as an island unto themselves, right? There is no way to get supplies in and out, so they have to be prepared for that long, cold winter.
Nice. Okay.
And Jay, the game, I ran 3 games combined with Greyhawk and FNLC official. 2 of those games were a Bernial game that is part of the ongoing campaign. And I had the party basically in late February, early March, follow the Fleur about 4 days up, and then 1 day inland, almost due west. And that's where they came across some old ruins and some old settlement up there that I think, by not just the weather, but by the sheer location of it, and how the woodlands would not be traversed unless you're living there, nobody would have known about it. So, and Brett and I are coming from, we have a couple players in terms of entities there that are going to dictate both historically and moving forward. And we took an area that was just such open canvas, and it's really taking shape. I mean, it's literally like the puzzle. We have some bookend ideas of what we're going to do for historical purposes, and then each adventure we're playing is another piece into that puzzle, until I wish we could just literally go somewhere for 7 days straight and hash all this stuff out over 18-hour days and look forward to 3 years of gaming. It's just not lifestyle supportive, and Mrs. Curtis C probably wouldn't be that happy about that either.
Understood. So was that the one you were running that I jumped in and watched at Founders and Legends?
Shit.
Table, and they came across and they were parlaying.
Yeah. So it would have been it would have been the tree line. It would have been the ruins.
Yeah.
That was the one.
Okay,
and Mike Bridges was in that. Mike came in. He was in that game on that Thursday night.
Cool.
So, and it worked out really well.
Michael speak really fondly of that session, by the way.
Yeah, thank you.
Nice.
It's really good to hear. I mean, it was a really fun session, and it's just, people don't deal with the Bernial, right? So even old school gamers can play something that's not expected. So it's kind of baked into that calculus that you can do something that might not catch them a little off guard. So it was, and it was it's such a cool area, because there's no wrong way of doing it. There's no wrong way of doing it anyway, but there's nothing tethering us to any sort of particular lore. So that's why we like it up there, because it's really off the grid.
I've always said this, Carlos, with a lot, and I think Anna, you'll agree that a lot of newer players back to Greyhawk are worried about screwing up canon or something, or published source, and
we all are in the beginning.
I know. So Brett's, I'm just gonna pick this place way out there, nowhere. I'm not gonna have to worry about it, which is cool though. But you developed your own lore. You're developing your own lore up there, and who knows?
I think that
Anna will put it on the map.
If that's a fear of yours, of a player or a DM, I think that's a very real thing. But by the same token, it kind of makes me sad, because that is really exactly contrary to what Gary wanted for Greyhawk. He wanted everybody to make Greyhawk and D&D their own.
Yeah,
I mean, he wanted everybody to develop it in their own ways. And so I wish that if people felt that way, I wish that I could get a chance to say that to them and tell them that, hey, don't worry about it. There's no wrong way to D&D, as long as you're having fun. There's no such thing.
Lore, not canon. Yeah, you're right.
A couple of the discussions Curtis and I have had have just been, this is wide open, and we can put this in there. The first adventure I ran them through, they ended up actually finding an abandoned dwarven city, and they didn't make it very far in before they ran into some pretty serious resistance. But you put something in like an abandoned dwarven city, and the treasure they pulled out as soon as they got back to Rolf's Landing and started selling off that treasure. Now you have a contingent of dwarves in Rolf's Landing because they want to know what's going on up there.
Word.
So it's starting to take a little bit of a life of its own already.
That's great. And that's the thing. Then you have a breathing campaign. You get to a point, and then you have generational characters playing there. You have maybe it gets to a point where you have even children playing, adventuring, of characters, and that's before you know it, you got a 5-10 year long going campaign in the same place, something to be proud of, and
it's absolutely, Jay. It's very organic and how it's evolved.
Yep.
In a play test for the one before Gary Con, I had a buddy of mine who was playing a thief character. He's like, "Oh, I can't wait to get this stuff back." And there was about a 15 to 20 minute interaction with the local druid there saying, "Yeah, actually, you're not taking that stuff back." He's like, "What do you mean?" "Well, you can make your way out of these woods, these ruins, for 5 or 6 days, or you can put everything back because the last thing we want are treasure hunters up here." So, and it was just an organic interaction between the druid and the local tribes up there that said, no. Thank you for everything. We'll figure out something for your effort, but you're not taking treasure back because some of these things are ancient and hundreds of years old that may be priceless to the right person. And then before you know it, not only people with legitimate like treasure hunters that want to figure the stuff out and see what it is, it's going to draw humanoids. It's going to draw all sorts of bad characters in the area that for centuries has been unspoiled. So it was just it's an organic growth that is really exciting to be able to play right there, right then, that I didn't anticipate as even as a DM.
Right.
And we played it out, and now it was just...
So, attaching to what you're saying right now, there's something that Scottish Jeff just said in the chat that I want to bring up.
Please.
You mentioned that he's reluctant or hesitant to start a campaign in Greyhawk, not knowing the histories of locations and stuff. And what these guys are saying, keep this in mind, right? I write all this source book material and stuff like that for Greyhawk and in my modules and things like that. But the amount of stuff that you're actually going to use in your game that the players are actually going to touch and intersect with is much, much smaller than you think. Okay, so if you just take one piece of canon that you like, I don't know, some extraneous bit of thing like I did with the Dungeon of Bleeding Walls making the Sanguine Labyrinth, you would be surprised how much mileage you will get out of that and how little other canon you have to touch on in order to make that set, your campaign, work and be and work in conjunction with the rest of canon as it exists. You'd be shocked.
Huge example. All right, so I have the Order of Ulick in this, and I ripped Spunk off from Roger Moore. That is the only 2 pieces of things I had to even change in this. That's it. Everything else was my own creation in Altamira, right? So it didn't need to change anything,
right?
So that's the way it works. You find something, you build on it, and you take little tidbits here and there. I know we're running up close to time. I know we haven't talked about Heart of Winter yet, right? So why don't we?
Yeah, we haven't yet, but that's okay. If we don't get to that,
let's do it. We can do it real quick, of course.
Let's do it.
Heart of Winter's way over on the other side. It's over in there in the Rakers Mountains, and Heart of Winter is kind of tangential to the Sanguine Labyrinth stuff. Kind of not. Somebody wanted It was a commission for a convention called Ice and Dice. They wanted a module, so I did that one for them. That's why it's ID1, and that's why it's so wintry and icy. It has to do with snow elves in the world of Greyhawk, and I have a bunch of canon. I have a bunch of lore that has to deal with Greyhawk snow elves in there as I see them, especially in the Rakers, and I actually release I create a new demigod in there as well that is kind of the black sheep of the elven Seldarian pantheon, so to speak.
Fantastic. I love the cover work too on this.
Yeah, that one was done by a contributor to Castle Entertainment by name Amy Nagy. She's a Chicagoan artist. She's awesome. I haven't worked with her yet. Again, I'm glad you reminded me because it's well overdue for me to work with her again because she's amazing.
So okay, and we got that one. So that's Carl's got like 6 or 7 wintry based adventures, and a lot of them are right up in the area that we're talking about, which is really makes it so much fun.
I'm a boy from Chicago that was born in January. I love the cold, and I'm a hockey player, so I no surprise that I do a lot of stuff with snow and ice based.
Well, so since we got Curtis and Brett here, guys, suggestions, ideas, or something you want to bring up. I know. By the way, Curtis, real short. I got to get Fritzy T-shirts for next Gary Con.
Jay, you make me do this. You make me do this and go to my alter ego. But no, it's awesome. Brett, go ahead and start because
you started to freeze up a little.
I would say it's such a team. Oh, I'm sorry. It's a real team aspect to this, but you really the driver.
So I mean, just as far as what's going on, so I end up being we've talked about this before, Curtis and I end up being the world-changing, long, ongoing campaign idea guy. I come up with that big, large scope idea for the campaign that might run years. So one of the things that I want to do is coming up next GaryCon. I'm going to run a couple of sessions after I play tested a couple of times. I'm going to break out a piece of what we've done already and give people, stealing a page out of Jay's book, I'm going to give people a chance to play my actual players' characters in that game.
That's it.
And see how that comes out. And then we're developing a larger storyline in current time right now, which is pretty huge. They just had their first encounter, and I can't go too much into detail, but let's just say it ended with a Type 6 demon that they had to fight. Yeah, that was a good time for them.
But for me, Jay, it's embracing the idea of doing historical adventuring in a campaign world, because I've already started to think, okay, what would be the battles or the adventuring around the establishment of Rolf's Landing? Mm-hmm. And going back 20, 30 years, where the foundations of that area would be, and using that as whether it's a con game or a campaign game over a course of a story arc. That's some of the things that we've been talking about a lot in the community and on your streams, is utilizing that in the campaign world too, is picking out some historical time frames and some things that, depending how they go, could ultimately end up affecting some things that may not even be known yet in the quote current timeline.
I love doing that. I love delving back. Absolutely. So is it Rolf, ROLF, or RALF?
ROLF.
There you
Rolf.
go. I know Daniel Boggs.
Yeah, and I know we've had some fun with the NPCs. There's already some established intrigue, so you're not going to get into Rolf's Landing without being involved in perhaps one faction or another trying to manipulate you. You can't have any kind of civilization without having that kind of fun.
Sounds like a reference guidebook.
Oh, we started talking about it, and then with the two big culprits, Gary Holian, Samwise. Mm-hmm. It'd be great is we wrote that into a gazetteer. So yeah, it added to my stack of projects.
Or talk to the man above.
2 weeks.
Any plans for publication for this stuff?
2 weeks worth of 18-hour days, Curtis? Maybe.
Yeah, Carlos. I have to get approval. That's side employment. I have to get things signed off. You know the drill. If I just let Brett do it and I'm just background.
Oh, because of where you work?
Yeah.
Really? Wow.
Yeah. They're a little strict, and as your attorney, I've got to follow those rules.
Could you do the pseudonym thing?
What's that?
Did you do the pseudonym thing for it?
It's like having a social media account where I have a pseudonym and I'm talking things that violate the rules. It's
Oh,
still me.
Yeah.
Although,
Fritz
God, you know how
Winchester.
many times. Okay,
No, he's right though. I can get away with it. So
I gotta
That
say
guy.
right now, Curtis, if you only knew back when Jay and I were doing Horror in the Hools,
Yeah.
Fritz is a pre-gen character in the back of Horror in the Hools, and you should have heard all the stuff I heard about Fritz.
Yeah,
This guy was just he was just the legend, but not in a good way. And you have totally revolutionized this character and made him your own. So hearing this is like, before you got on, my jaw was hanging open.
Yeah, he didn't realize. He didn't know what happened in Thursday. He made a saving throw. We needed a 3 or less on a die 20. He rolled a 1. He needed a 3. Or else he would have pulled a second apple from a tree in Thursday. And you know what happens when you pull a second apple.
I do know what happened.
Yeah.
I would also say
at least 2 of them found out what happens.
Yeah.
It's also very on brand for Curtis, though, because when he and I I ran him in a different game during the convention, and his rolls were excellent all convention long as well. So that's very
Carlos, I've been dealing with that for 40 years. I swear.
come out smelling like a rose.
But
yes, I did.
That's the great thing.
But he was an excellent player too, though. It wasn't just good die rolls. He was an excellent player as well.
Carlos, thank you, because I got to play against type a little bit. And it was outstanding. I am very proud that I literally cracked you up at least once and make you almost break when the things I was saying in character.
You did a couple times. I was very impressed.
And note, you guys are friends. I have Tim, Alan, Walt, my guy Marco, Bill, Tom. I mean, we've got like 44, 46 years. It's insane. So same feeling, man. It's the same feeling, which is great. So Anna, what are your thoughts on this discussion tonight? I know you're a little quiet here last half hour.
No, but there's been so much awesome discussion. I didn't want to interrupt because I wanted to listen to this. This is awesome. But yeah, I think it's definitely a region that I think we got a lot of examples of you can dig into. You can carve out your own little part of it. You can tie it into one of the many different themes. And that's the cool thing. The geography is vast, meaning there's plenty of open space where you can put in, meaning you can put whole countries in here, basically. It's that big. But it also has many different themes to it. Geographically, it's kind of cold and open and barren, but there's some forests, there are some mountains and some coastlines and stuff that you can tie into. But you also have different, meaning you have openings to the Baklunish West. You have down in Perrenland where you have civilization and stuff. You have Ayusians, you have elves in the Vespi that are next door. You have east, you have old weird lore, you have weird places like Egg of Koot and all sorts of things that you can turn into whatever you want, so to speak, almost that you can go way out of normal fantasy. And Land of Black Ice, right, that it's kind of cool in itself. You can do really cool things with that too. And you can also dig into ancient history, because when things are frozen, a lot of things are preserved much better. So it's a perfect spot to hide old stuff that can be frozen for millennia and still be, once you don't know what happens when you thaw it up, so to speak. So there's a lot of cool, fantasy-esque, and you can do a lot of different themes. There is so much cool possibilities and room for maneuver, so to speak, in your campaign. So definitely do what Curtis and Brett and Carlos have done. You create cool stuff in this area. Yeah.
And Anna, just as a real quick add-on to that, one of the aspects I incorporated in both the games at GaryCon, but the kind of the overall is when the Twin Cataclysms happened, the Sewell basically saw a migration of kind of a mix of Flan and Iridians that were moving east that ultimately were going to move into the Burnial.
Yeah.
And out of things that I want, what I observed is with the Sewell basically took it out on the Flan for no real reason other than in their paranoid mind they thought they were helping the Baklunish, that they
Mhm.
were allied with them, therefore enemies, and why the incredibly cold nature of the Burnial is actually a curse.
Yeah.
And as time has gone on, when you were talking about things that are hidden, part of the game element was there is this aspect of warming, partial warming of the Burnial in spots where
Mhm.
things that were under ice and under
Permafrost,
tundra
yeah.
Yep.
and under permafrost are now starting to melt off.
Yep.
It's not
Oh, he finally got.
everywhere, but it's almost like when they were trekking, they were cold areas still.
Yep.
So
And the cool thing is that in real physics, there is dark ice. There are many different forms of frozen water. One of them is dark ice. And once I started thinking negative energy kind of thing, and so I have my own theories and stuff what might be hidden up there. And if you go back and remember if you have a Seoul Empire there 4,000 years ago, they experimented with stuff. There can be some interesting things hidden up there that should kind of be hidden and stay
Kinda.
hidden, so to speak.
It kind of lends itself, just to add on to my storyline, which is,
Yeah.
as Curtis will tell you, far be it for me to use the undead
Mhm.
in any game ever. But yeah, that's kind of the adventurers now getting out into the Burnial and discovering these things and bringing them back to the population have started to disturb some things that might have been better left frozen in the woods.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
I love
Yeah.
that.
So, I mean, you have so many fantasy, both cliches, but also things that go beyond and outside of the cliche, and also things that are core to the setting, like I use Vespi and the Baklunish and stuff. But you also have things that are out of the ordinary, Egg of Coot and God knows what, where you can go out on the limb. And you have Merlin. We forgot to mention him. We need to mention him. We have Merlin's castle is on the west. If you take the Burnell Forest and go all the way out to the coast,
Right.
Maryland has a castle up there. So that's another kind of cool thing that ties into the lore.
So many
of what we
questions
have.
about that place. I saw
Yeah.
that on your map,
Mhm.
and I'm like, oh,
Yep.
I want to know more.
Yep.
Not to
So
mention,
that's
It's just
something
Clint
up there.
background over there as well.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Mhm. So,
Well,
so there are little nuggets of cool stuff sprinkled out here over a vast geographical area, because the areas are vast. So it's a big place with lots of maneuvers. So you can do a lot of cool overland skirmishy campaigns. You can set up cool rules for overland chases and stuff. So especially in winter, you can have bad weather. You can have follow tracks in the snow. There are dragons and other things that can fly. Might not be the best place to be hit outside in the open where nowhere to hide. And so there are interesting, like Carlos said, you can turn the environment into a problem, so to speak. In the summer, you can turn the other way around. This area can be very hot and very dry. It can almost turn into a desert for 1 month of the year, so to speak, where you can hard to find water. The temperature goes through the roof for 6 weeks or a couple of weeks and so on. And then it freezes like hell overnight, so to speak. And so you can have all sorts of cool stuff that way. The environment doesn't necessarily need to be wintry and cold all year round. It can be surprisingly hot for a few weeks in the summer too.
and
so
bugs,
Yeah, exactly. And
human
we
and
haven't talked
bugs.
about the mosquitoes. Meaning, come on, we can have sturgeons have their cousins up here, so to speak. That will literally suck you dry. Yep.
chinch bugs,
Yep.
manganese.
Stitch bugs. You don't even not even know what that is.
Yep. Mhm.
Magnesium.
I know in northern Scandinavia, the
Oh,
mosquitoes are literally this big, and they will suck
Yeah.
a deciliter out of you.
Yeah,
Yeah,
they
so
they have
yeah.
they have numbers on the wings. They're that big.
Well, it's literally true. They reindeer and moose and wildlife can literally be killed by mosquitoes and insects that are blood-sucking insects that literally suck them dry. So that can happen to adventurers. So I suggest you stat up some relatives of the sturgeons up there. So and have fun with them. Yeah.
I missed a prime opportunity, Brent and Curtis, when you guys were talking about like what the reward was. I was like, hey, buddy, a little something for the effort. I missed it. Get
Yep.
that Caddyshack chat in there. All right, let's do some shout outs, what everyone's up to, and then we're going to do the giveaway. So, Anna, what's going on?
First of all, we have some new additions thanks to Troy. The LA3 and LA4 are now posted on my website on the Lakofka page. So I'm posting a link
cool.
to my website.
Download,
Yep,
everyone find. There
yep,
you go.
you can go download them. I uploaded them a couple of hours ago. So hopefully everything is corrected. So Troy gave me them. So thank you to Troy, Lee, and everybody who's been involved doing these gems for the Lakofka archives. So that's the big thing. And also there's no solution to my world machine drama, so to speak. So I'm looking into plan B and plan
Really?
C. So but I knew this day will come. I was just hoping it will come 2 years.
Did it crash on you and it just won't
well,
render?
yeah, the some update in Windows caused the latest version of World Machine to go hey bonkers, and
I hate
support
when
has
that
been.
happens.
Oh yeah, it happens. But I knew it was on shaky grounds,
Oh,
and now it's
man.
kind of So it's not the end of the world. It just means some setbacks and some I need to renew or to start using Gaia and stuff, and they are not ready with all the functions yet. So there will be a little bit of a lag in between, and I'm also haven't set up all my workflow properly for them. So short term it's a setback. Long term, I think is the other way around. I think it actually will boost me into using better tools faster, so to speak. So long term, in a year, I think this will be a benefit, a boost. But in the next 6 months, it will be a problem. So that's what I see. So no big worries. There's plenty of other stuff to do.
Okay.
But there will come a report on that, and there will come more stuff on a general update, more crit wall stuff, and more shield land point of interest, and more stuff on sensors and even alignment language. Yep.
Cool. We should have an Altamir meeting a week from Friday as well.
Okay.
So,
Cool.
Okay.
Yep.
Awesome. So thank you, Anna.
And a mapping live stream on Friday again.
Right.
Yep.
So, which means from this night on, there's no breaks. Wednesday night here, Thursday night here, Friday night Anna, Saturday morning my stream, Sunday night. So we got no breaks. You got something going on every night this week. Curtis, what do you got going on, brother?
Well, little over 2 weeks. We got champions at the end of the month.
Oh, I'm gonna share that in a second.
Oh yeah, so
I'll share it back.
working on finalizing a few things for that. I will say this because Carlos is on. You know, I've taken the mantle of Fritz Winchester as my own, but in the Champions game, Jay's like, just give me whoever, and I had some pre-generated characters for a different thing, and I said, great, Jay, I'm going to give you the biggest arrogant DB character I have. And it's a hero group that's sponsored by the United States government called the Banner Guard, and he is this really arrogant, all about me guy in a battle suit, and he's called Rocket's Red Glare, and he's armed with a bunch of missiles, and he flies around, he does twirlies and everything else. So I'm like, you know what, we have this relationship where we take these character archetypes and we make them our own. So but other than that, we're going to be starting, I think, Brett, tell me if I'm wrong, but we may be getting the nod for Tower of Gygax again next year.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yep.
I would love to run part again. Yep.
Awesome.
So those meetings are going to start up probably, I'd say, in the next month.
Cool.
Month and a half, as we start to kind of spec it out, because we came on so late this time that we're going to have a full year to prep it, and we really want to refine some things and even make it even more fun. And we got a lot of good feedback on it.
So,
and yes,
awesome.
Everybody, go ahead, Jay, say it. Tower Gygax.
Who survived Anna's Tower Gygax? This guy.
You knew it was coming at some point, right?
They all died. I didn't.
Yes.
Hey, I will even fly out a day early if you were going to run any on Wednesday or whatever, early, or the day before, whatever, or Tuesday or whatever. If you want someone to spot run something off game, I will volunteer too. So
yeah, and we appreciate that. We'd love to have, because we're going to refine a lot of those things. So between the stream on the end of the month, some other things that we're going to be working on Bernial wise, and then working on Tower Gygax. So it's going to keep me busy for a good stretch of time. And then love being on here, in chat here and
Cool.
in Discord.
Awesome. I appreciate you hopping on tonight. Thank you so very much.
Absolutely.
Go ahead, Brett.
Much like Curtis, putting a lot of thought into Tower of Gygax and all the things that we want to do for that. So we have to get together about that as well. Looking forward to Champions. Absolutely, another chance to play Reviler. Probably one of my favorite characters to play ever. Looking forward to that in a couple of weeks. Just really excited. Also, can't wait to see what Coco and Little Bird do, because they're gonna get in there and tear it up. And somehow I know I'm gonna kill somebody. That's just gonna happen.
That's awesome.
And then working on, like I said, I want to run one of my Burnio games for next year at GaryCon. So I'm going to work on getting that put together and play testing so it's ready to go.
That's fantastic. Well, thank you both for coming on. Really appreciate it.
Thanks for letting me be here.
I like how much it sounds great, your campaign. I wish you would keep it rolling. That's it. Spread out, but branch out. You can have offshoots too. There's no reason you can't.
I just love the fact that it's in such a remote area too. I mean, it just spreads out. Like you said, the lore is.
Yep.
It becomes a lot deeper over there. We need to know stuff about that area.
I agree 100%, Carlos. That's perfect. Perfect to get some areas added in. Like it's just like Valmoku and Nairon. Who the hell loves Nairon? That guy, right? You know what I mean? So we get a lot of that because we have a lot people all over the all over the planet running stuff. So that's wonderful. Carlos, what do you got? What's going on?
Well, currently I'm just buttoning up the new module, which is called Crescendo and Coda, which is the end of my Flesh Trader / Slave Lords adventures. That was play tested at GaryCon, and so I just need to do a little bit of fine tuning on it, and that'll be done. That'll be released sometime probably around late summer, I believe. I'm also working on Patreon stuff, and in the meantime, I am starting the work event. Yes, you're hearing it here first. I'm starting the work on Fireland.
Oh, there you go. Nice.
Good.
Perfect.
Yes, I finally got the time now. I'm ahead of schedule enough that I think I can start working on that again. That's so wonderful. having that finished will be awesome. And but also Fireland. But also on top of that, I'll be doing some more module work and stuff like that. So it never ends for me.
Please sit tight, everyone, for the Troller game raid when we're finished. Let's give them a ton of support tonight because it's in the Kickstarter. Luke's probably on. We would love to do that. All right, here's what's coming on. Since I have a little more free time right now, hopefully not for long, but I've been really cranking out as much as I can. Hopefully I won't hit the wrong button. So this is a picture of like the southeastern corner of Hardby. I got so much stuff on the table. Some roads and stuff. And there is Skeet's Hideaway. Look, the Hideaway. It even says it right on there by Billmaster Crafter. And there's Skeet, the halfling thief. That's Tom's character. And tomorrow night is adventure number 1041. Trouble at Skeet's Hideaway. It's a Hardby Irregulars group, so we're back in Free City Hardby for a couple weeks, and that is tomorrow, Saturday morning. William Henry Dvorak, our first of our guest series of GMs and DMs, starts with Will and his Lost Secrets of the Rushmore's book. That has Willow Isle in it. We're all playing halflings, so we got the Ever Mysterious Tim, Minnesota Muse, Ashley from Guild Spears channel, Antiquitous Alex, and myself playing in that game. And that starts an hour, 10 a.m. So it's only 7 o'clock for you, Curtis and Brett. So there you go. And not 6 like the other stuff. That is Saturday. I'm not sure what we're doing on Gabbin this week, but next special event. Balfron's going crazy. We got a BattleTech game. So we got 8 players in this game. I am really excited. 2 full Lances. Phantom Rob's in it. Jimmy Duffy's in it. Chris Herrera from GaryCon's in it.
Cool.
So he's really excited about playing. My son, Tim's son, and Tim, we got it. And Patrick, the Ancient Gamer's in it too.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. Invasion Corey, and this is going to be there's a series of scenarios, but this is going to be you're going to be in this area on Corey the planet for a while. All right, just note that. So it's going to be a series. Next one will kick off, but it's scenario based, just like BattleTech is. That is the 20th. The next one after that, the 27th. Here's the Champions game. All right, here we go. So we got with Brett playing and Brett, myself, Coco, and Bird playing, and we have Curtis GMing that. Yes, Champion Superheroes game, and that's 10 a.m. So like I said, we're gonna keep. Now Alyssa's not. Yeah, Alyssa's not in that mindset to play. So it's okay, Jeff. I mean, I've tried. She hasn't played in the last couple ones. Yeah. So a lot of fun stuff. That's only April. Are you ready for this? Saturday night, May 18th. No, something else. The day after that, we had Keith Baker, by the way. We had Keith Baker on doing his Glenboard game, talking about Eberron and all the contributions he's made. That's a Gavin 3 weeks from Sunday. And then after that, here we go, Saturday, May 18th. Dun, 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 the crossover event of crossover events. The Slav Squad 2-drink minimum wedding event.
Wow.
Yes.
Awesome.
Confirmed is Ed Greenwood, Eric Mona playing Venarian Vord, John the Creep Show, Myriad Bones, Eric Mengi, and Tony Winslow Brill, all confirmed for this game. The wedding of Kazara and Devin, right? They profess their love for each other. Also converted to Rala Shaz because Venarian Vord somehow convinced them. Yeah, I know. Look at you. There'll be some cameo appearances too by other people. This is gonna be. I can't wait for this. This may be one of the best, best games and funnest. The chickens come home to roost after all these years. That's all I'm gonna say. Some of you may understand what I'm talking about if you were around during Virtual CrowdCon 1. You reap what you sow in this adventure. So it's going to be fun. I will not just ruin the ceremony. Okay, I promise. Because Eric has promised to bring all this great stuff. All the Ralashaz phrases and things. I will.
Bad stuff never happens at weddings and fantasy settings.
Carlos. Oh, I can't wait for this. It's gonna be awesome. That is going to be wonderful. That's enough there. All right, here we go. The first winner I pull gets the 3 adventures from Carlos. Thank you, Celtic. I will throw that up again real quick. You will win all 3 of these, and if you're outside the continental U.S., you can either pay for the freight or take the PDFs. All right, there you go. All 3 of the Sanguine trilogy.
Excited.
It is exciting. Here, right? Ready to close this out. Carlos, when they in a month when they're up, I'll order all 3 of them. I don't have any of them, so I'm going to order.
Oh, fantastic! That's awesome. Thank you so much.
Of course. All right, I'm going to hit the wrong button. Here we go. Closing this out. Are we good? The winner, and then I'll do a second one. Oh, I got to reopen it. Stupid thing. Give me a sec. Streamlabs sometimes the button doesn't regenerate for the right one to pick the winner. We're good. And then I'll pick a second winner for the second winner will get an opportunity to pick whatever. Brett, did you get your stuff that I sent you?
I did. Okay. Yeah, got it today, as a matter of fact.
All right, so let's see here. It's still all right. What the frick? Here we go. Winner.
We talked about the NHL playoffs coming up.
Razkel.
Yeah,
Razkel.
Well done.
Is Razkel on?
They'll be coming all the way up to May.
Yes, is on. Yeah,
nice.
Right on.
Razkel is on.
Congratulations.
And he's from Razkel's in Maine.
Yep.
Yeah,
he mentioned it earlier in the chat.
There you go, Razkel. You got it. Second winner is Alex Antiquitous. Get with me, Alex, and we'll give you something you don't have.
Hey, Alex.
Right?
Awesome. Congratulations.
So let's go in to Troller Games.
Games at GaryCon. You did a great job.
Everyone who volunteered did a wonderful job in spite of Josh. So I'm just kidding. Everyone did a wonderful. I have to bust Josh's stones. So
Took a shot.
By the way, in one last thing, in the summer edition of the Grey Grimoire will be 4 members of the Slav Squad inside the publication. Yeah, including Carl Spackler-Leaf. So You get to see them as characters and utilize them in your campaign if you're crazy enough. So Anna and Carlos and Brett and Curtis, thank you for a great show. We're gonna raid into Troller Games, give them triple their numbers. Let's do it, everyone. We'll see you tomorrow night, 7:30. It's Gamescape 3D and Reaper Miniatures giveaways tomorrow night as well. And Jay will probably hit a wrong button here. Shit. All right, hit the right button. There we go. I hit the right button that time. I hit the wrong button twice. And it's back to back. All right, gonna set the raid up here. We're going to Troll Lord. Raid. Stream manager. Raid. They got Luke on. That's great. Where'd it go? What the heck's going on? Alrighty. I'm looking to see. It's not giving me a raid prompt. Yeah, this stupid thing. Give me a sec. It says I'm already raiding Troller Games, but I'm not raiding Troller Games because I don't see a Troller Games prompt. Give me 1 sec. Let me cancel it and start. Ah, crap. It's not working. What the hell? I gotta figure this out. Give me 1. All right, there we go. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. See you tomorrow night. All right.
Good night, guys.
They moved it. All right. My bad being stupid.
October. Yeah.